Lakeisha Tate, the Administrative Manager, who will be presenting the Virtual Technical Assistance Training for Pre-Award Services. We really appreciate you being able to join the Virtual Technical Assistance Training online today. So if you have any questions or comments, please put those questions and comments in the chat box, and they will be answered at the end of my presentation. So we can provide you an even better experience, we are collecting feedback on how we perform in our presentations. So at the end of each presentation, we will provide a link to the survey in the chat box. Also, following the training, our office will ensure that all registered attendees receive a copy of each presentation. So if you previously RSVP for the technical assistance training, it should come to your email. And if you didn't, we will provide a copy of each presentation on the City of Houston Housing Community Development website. It looks like Brandon said he cannot see content on the screen. You might want to restart your computer and log back into the presentation, into the Microsoft link invite. So our division contact information is Kanisha London is our Deputy Director of Housing Community Development Department, and Crystal Boyce is the Division Manager for Contract Compliance, which she oversees pre-award services. Crystal Boyce leads a team of professionals that administers Section 3, Pay or Play, in the Minority Women-Owned Small Business Enterprise programs. As the Administrative Manager for Pre-Award Services, I am very passionate about contract compliance and committed to ensuring that all representatives fully understand program rules and compliance expectations on housing community development projects. If you have any questions or concerns regarding any of the information provided during this presentation regarding pre-award services compliance requirements, you can email me at lakeisha.tate@houstontx.gov or contact me by phone at 832-394-6345. My information will also be provided to you in the chat box as well. So some of you who are not very familiar with pre-award services is like, what is pre-award services? Pre-award services lays the foundation for compliance at the earliest phase of the project by effectively reviewing your solicitation language, ensuring your contract documents meet compliance requirements, also reviewing and approving required compliance documents such as your Minority Women Small Business Enterprise, Section 3, Pay or Play required documents. By ensuring these documents are compliant with applicable program requirements, will maximize performance and minimize risk on housing community development projects. I will be the developer, the prime contractor, and the general contractor, best friend, main point of contact to ensure that compliance is achieved. During this project process, I make sure that I'm very proactive, progressive, and ongoing so that all involved parties are well-versed and able to implement program requirements prior to the start of work. What are some of the pre-award benefits? So pre-award, we provide benefits by ensuring the contracting party receives detailed guidance on applicable program requirements to prevent any project delays and non-compliance. For example, once I am notified that the awardee has been awarded funding on a project, then I disseminate a congratulations email to that contracting party, providing them guidance and compliance expectations as it relates to the Minority Small Business Enterprise, HUD Section 3, and Pay or Play programs. Also, pre-award services, I schedule an informational meeting with the developer or the assigned general contractor to discuss the pre-award program rules and compliance requirements. I request a cost allocation that includes the use of funds and provides a breakdown of the funding sources from the contracting party to accurately ensure that project activity will be subject to MWSBE Section 3 and Pay or Play requirements. I assist with ensuring that these contracting and employment and training opportunities are required from the developer and the assigned general contractor by completing the e-bid announcement and the EOA announcement, which is disseminated to our local businesses and workers to promote economic and employment opportunities to Section 3 businesses, MWSBE firms, and Section 3 workers on housing community development projects. E-bid and EOA announcements will be discussed further down the presentation. In this section of the pre-award presentation, I will provide you the pre-award documents that must be submitted on behalf of the awarded developer and or assigned general contractor before project activity can proceed. In this section, I'm going to discuss the pre-award requirements as it relates to the Minority Women-Owned Small Business Enterprise known as MWSBE. Some of you are not familiar with the program changes. There has been a policy change has been made to the MWBE program. The city now allows MWBE primes to meet advertised goals by self-performing up to 50% of the total contract goals. This change is only applicable to new solicitations that were approved or awarded after February the 3rd, 2022. If your project was awarded under a previous approved NOFA or solicitation, then the 50% self-performing for MWBE prime will not be allowed. Primes will have the choice to initiate which goal they would like to receive credit for on the construction project. So you have a choice to either put your self-performing 50% toward an MBE or the WBE goal. This new policy serves to assist the MWBE primes to build your capacity while not losing focus on ensuring that MWBE subcontractors participate on housing community development projects. So Housing Community Development has worked with the Office of Business Opportunity, who administers the MWSBE program, to approve categorical goals for housing community development construction projects that are similar, that are initiated with our multifamily division, our public facility, and single family. These categorical goals have been included in new NOFAs and solicitation advertised through multifamily, public facility, and single family for construction-related activities only. If your project is subject to MWBE goal, then pre-award services will require the developer and or general contractor to complete and submit a compliant MWSB participation plan along with signed MWSBE letters of intent to my attention for review and approval. The certified firms listed on your MWSBE participation plan must be currently certified through the City of Houston Office of Business Opportunity to go toward your goal achievement. To achieve your MWBE goal, you want to ensure that the MBE and the WBE goals are separate subcontracting goals that must be met individually. Any excess of an MBE or WBE goal cannot be used to meet a deficit MBE or WBE goal. So if you exceed an MWBE goal, but you fall short of the WBE goal, you cannot use that excess of MBE to meet the WBE. You are allowed to substitute 4% SBE substitution to meet either the MBE and or WBE goal, but both cannot get 4% each. If your solicitation or your project was awarded under the new city policy, then the MBE or WBE certified prime may count its self-performance up to 50% of the overall goal. We want to ensure that all firms listed, certified firms listed on your participation plan, that we're going to count that total dollar value of that subcontractor toward your advertised goal. Only City of Houston certified firms will be utilized to meet either your MBE or WBE goal. You can visit the City of Houston Office of Business Opportunity website at www.houstonTX.gov/OBO. You can click on that directory link and search. The directory is over 5,000 certified firms that you can utilize to meet your MWBE goal requirement. When submitting your participation plan, I want to ensure that the developer or the contractor is completing that plan entirely and signing that participation plan. Your participation plan should be submitted and accompanied with the signed MWSBE letters of intent. So I'm looking for you to either turn in one document that meet those advertised MWBE goals, or you'll be required to turn in 3 documents if you cannot meet the advertised contract goals. This is what a copy of the MWSB participation plan looks like, which is referred to as document 470. This participation plan is going to capture the developer and or general contractor commitment to achieve the advertised contract goal. It will help the pre-award services determine whether the developer or contractor has an actual plan to meet the advertised goal. So the contractor developer will be required to submit document 470 along with the MWSBE signed letters of intent. The second document is the pre-bid good faith efforts. Like I said, if you meet the goal requirements, then you turn in one document. If you fail to meet the goal requirements, then you will be required to submit the document 470 and 471, which is the pre-bid good faith effort. This document allows you to document good faith efforts to meet the average. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. So I'll go back to the next slide in case you were unable. So the previous slide, I was discussing the contract deviation goal request. This third document, which is document 472, allows the contractor to explain two things: why the contractor was unable to meet the advertised MWBE goals and what good faith efforts the contractor made that were not captured on document 471, and allows you to provide additional justification. You want to ensure that this document 472 is completed entirely and include the certified firm's name, address, contact phone number, and email information. It is very important that this information is provided because when the administrative department is evaluating your good faith efforts and your deviation goal request, they want to make sure that they can call and verify with any of those certified firms that you listed on that you made good faith efforts to. This is the MWSBE letter of intent. The letter of intent must be accompanied with your MWSB participation plan. It must be completed entirely. So the bid amount on the MWSBE letter of intent will be the City of Houston funding amount, and I will provide that funding amount to the developer or the general contractor. The MWBE goal will be the goal that was advertised. So if it's 34, whatever your goal was advertised, you want to put that under the MWSBE goal. Marcella, if you're unable to see the screen, you might want to log out and then re-log into the presentation. The MWSBE letter of intent, you want to make sure that the same percentage or amount that you put on the MWBE participation plan, that you're also putting that percentage and amount on your MWSBE letter of intent. You want to make sure that the letter of intent is signed by the general contractor and the certified MWSBE subcontractor or supplier. If this letter of intent is not accompanied with your MWSB participation plan and not completed entirely, it will be deemed non-responsive. So here's an example of what a MWSE participation plan looks like when it's completed entirely. You want to make sure where it says city advertised contract goal that you're putting your advertised contract goal. So you want to put the percentage for MBE and you want to put the percentage for WBE. When you go and look under the certified firm's profile, you want to make sure that you're listing the appropriate NAICS codes and the appropriate work description for the certified firm that you're listing for on your participation plan. You want to make sure that you have a percentage of that you're going to subcontract to the certified subcontractor or supplier. If it is a subcontractor, you want to put services. If it's a supplier, you want to put supplier. Under certification type, you want to indicate and select one certification type. It's going to be either MBE, WBE, or SBE. You cannot select multiple certification types. Even though your certified subcontractor or supplier is possibly certified in multiple certification types, you only can utilize them for one certification type. You want to make sure that you put that certification firm's information in the last column. Under bid participation plan total, if you're you want to calculate what percentage was listed for MBE, you want to put that percentage there. For WBE, you want to put that percentage. If you substituted 4% SBE, then you want to put the percentage of SBE that you substituted. You're only allowed to substitute up to 4% to meet the MBE or WBE goal. So when I'm calculating your MWSB participation plan, I'm looking at, okay, the advertised goal. So this particular participation plan has an advertised goal of 23% MBE and 11% WBE. Remember, these are separate goals that must be met individually. So on the proposed participation plan, the contractor listed that they have 4% SBE. Under MBE, they have 19%. So the contractor proposed that they're going to substitute 4% SBE toward their MBE goal, which gives them a total of 23%. The WBE goal they have listed at 11%. We're going to take the 11% plus the 23%, and it gives 34%. Does this MWSB participation plan meet the minimum goal requirements? Yes. So when assessing your MWBE participation plan, I'm looking for you to submit that document 470, which is the MWSB participation plan, along with your signed letters of intent for each subcontractor and or supplier listed to meet your goal achievement. You want to make sure that each box is completed and the document is signed. I need all required documents to be provided and the MWSB participation plan that demonstrates meeting the minimum goal requirements in order to be deemed responsive. And the reason why I'm stressing minimum goal requirements, because if your contract is advertised with a 34%, then we want to ensure that whatever you list on your participation plan, it meets the minimum goal requirements. If your advertised goal is 34% and on your participation plan you list 50, you will be required to adhere to meeting 50% and not 34%. So make sure that when you're submitting your MWSB participation plan, that it meets the minimum goal requirements. Now, throughout the duration of the project, if you want to exceed it and give those certified firms more participation, that's great. We encourage it. However, when submitting your participation plan, it needs to only meet the minimum goal requirements. So if your MWSB participation plan and letters of intent are deemed responsive, then you will receive an approval email from me dictating that, hey, we recommend the proceeding with the pre-construction meeting or project activities. If you fail to demonstrate meeting the minimum goal requirements, or you list firms on there that's not currently certified, or they're not performing a commercially useful function, then your participation plan can be denied, and you will receive an email with further notification on how we will proceed with this MWSBE participation plan that failed to meet the MWSBE program requirements. If your plan does not meet it, then like I said, you either you're going to turn in 3 documents, 470, 471, and 472. Those documents, along with any supporting documentation, will be forwarded over to the Office of Business Opportunity. That is the city department that administers the MWSBE program. They will evaluate your MWBE plan and good faith efforts, along with any supporting documentation. I also will request a copy of the scope of work, because if you included any good faith efforts, the Office of Business Opportunity needs to review your scope of work to make sure that you have acceptable good faith efforts for the scope of work that's listed for that particular project. The Office of Business Opportunity standard processing time, if they receive an MWSBE plan that does not meet program requirements, is 7 to 10 days. My standard processing time for your plan and letter of intent is 7 to 10 business days as well. Once the non-responsive plan goes over to OBO, I'm not included in that reviewing process. OBO will be in contact with the contractor and provide pre-award services with their final recommendations on the MWSBE plan. No project activity, no pre-construction meeting will be able to proceed until all of your pre-award documents have been approved. So if your Section 3 or pay-or-play documents have been approved, but MWSBE is still being reviewed by OBO, we cannot proceed with any project activity. So next up is our Section 3 compliance requirements. If your project is subject to HUD Section 3 requirements, then I will require the developer and or general contractor to complete and submit compliance Section 3 participation plan along with the signed letters of intent. Only the certified firms through Housing Community Development Department will be utilized to meet your Section 3 numerical goal requirements. E-bid announcements are for new contracting opportunities, and those opportunities are disseminated to the directory of Section 3 and MWSBE firms. So if a developer is going to procure for a general contractor, then I'll require them to submit an e-bid announcement. Once the general contractor is selected, then I'll require that general contractor to submit an e-bid announcement for any new contracting opportunities, and those opportunities will be distributed out to the Section 3 directory as well as the City of Houston MWSBE directory. In the event that the developer or the general contractor have any employment opportunities, then an EOA announcement will be required to be completed for new employment opportunities. We're not asking you to go out and create any opportunities. We're saying that if any new opportunities shall arise, then an employment opportunity announcement will be required to be completed and submitted to my attention and then distributed out to the directory of the Section 3 workers. So the Section 3 numerical goal requirements. Any contractor with a contract in excess of $100,000 are required to meet the numerical goal requirements listed below. There are contracting and employment goals that will be required if your project is subject to Section 3 requirements. 3% of your soft cost is a contracting goal requirement. That means if you require professional services that are non-construction related, then 3% of your non-construction soft cost budget should be awarded to certified Section 3 business concerns. 10% hard cost goal requirement. That means 10% of your total direct construction budget should be awarded to Section 3 certified business concerns. We also have a 25% Section 3 worker benchmark goal. That means 25% or more of the total labor hours performed on the project should be performed by Section 3 workers, with at least 5% being performed by target Section 3 workers. So if the project is subject to Section 3 requirements, then a Section 3 participation plan will be required to be completed. You will complete the contract information at the top, then you will review the Section 3 requirements regarding do you have any hiring opportunities, and then you will proceed to the subcontracting portion. Under the Section 3 hiring plan, if you have a need that triggers you to hire Section 3 workers, then you are required to comply with the Section 3 requirements under the 24 CFR Part 75. That means you will list those job titles, the number of employees, and all of that information under the hiring plan. On the Section 3 participation plan, as it relates to your subcontracting goal requirements, only firms certified through the City of Houston Housing and Community Development may be used to meet the 10% and the 3% goal requirements. So on the participation plan, then you will definitely include those Section 3 certified businesses, put what work they're going to perform, put the amount, and all of that information. You want to make sure that the Section 3 participation plan is completed entirely, signed and dated, and is accompanied with your Section 3 signed letter of intent. This is what your Section 3 letter of intent looks like. You want to put the project name, you want to put the project number, which is a contract number. Your bid amount will be provided to you. And then for Section 3 goal, you will indicate if this is going to be for your 10% hard cost or is it for your 3% soft cost. You will put that certified Section 3 business name on there, whatever percentage or amount that you listed on the Section 3 participation plan. You must ensure that that same amount is listed on the signed letter of intent. You want to make sure that it's signed by the developer or a signed general contractor, as well as that Section 3 business concern, and you both should sign and date it. If the Section 3 letter is not accompanied with your Section 3 participation plan or completed, it will be deemed non-responsive. So when assessing the Section 3 participation plan, I'm looking to ensure that it's accompanied with the signed letter of intent for each certified Section 3 business concern listed to meet the 10% hard cost or the 3% soft cost. You want to make sure that all of the documents are included with your participation plan and that your participation plan actually meets those subcontracting goal requirements. If your participation plan is approved, then you will receive email notification that, I recommend to proceed with scheduling of the pre-construction meeting and any project activities. If the prime contractor or developer failed to demonstrate a good faith efforts in meeting the Section 3 numerical goals, then I will send a notification to all parties notifying you at this time I do not recommend to proceed with moving forward with a pre-construction meeting or project activities. And if you submitted a Section 3 participation plan that did not meet those numerical goal requirements and you did not demonstrate any good faith efforts, then I will attempt to schedule a meeting with you and allow you to cure that Section 3 participation plan within 7 to 10 business days. Once I have reviewed your Section 3 participation plan, you cured it, or you have submitted acceptable good faith efforts, then I will review that and then make my determination if this is acceptable to proceed with the pre-construction meeting or the project activity. And you will receive an email notification regarding my recommendation. So, eBid announcement requirements. If a developer is going to advertise for a general contractor, then I will require the developer to submit an eBid announcement to my attention that lists the scope of work, the qualifications, the contact information. It would have to be, the due date has to be a minimum of 2 weeks. We have a lot of concerns with some of our interested contractors that we don't receive any of the general contracting opportunities. We only receive the subcontracting. So I require any developers to complete an eBid announcement, and then I send it out to the Section 3 in the MWSBE directory. So if any of those contractors who have the capacity to serve as a general contractor are interested, they can definitely submit a bid and respond to RFP or whatever. If once your general contractor has been assigned to the project, then they will be required to submit an eBid announcement for any new subcontracting opportunities they might have. And they will complete the eBid announcement, make sure they list the scope of work, minimum classifications, have a contact number and all that information included. And it's also a minimum of 2 weeks deadline. Once they submit the eBid announcement to my attention, I will review it, approve it, and I will disseminate it out to the Section 3 businesses in HCD directory, as well as the City of Houston MWSBE firm directory. I also encourage our developers and general contractors to do their due diligence and ensure that these contracting opportunities are extended out to the contracting community as well, and ensure that you're documenting good faith efforts to achieve meeting Section 3 or MWSBE goals. Here's a copy of our Section 3 eBid announcement. It'll include the date. The bid due date must be a minimum of 2 weeks. You want to put, is it going, to who it's going to, put the project name, the project address, a summary of work. You want to put, whatever scope of work that you have available for any contracting opportunities. And you also want to make sure that you have a name and phone number and email address. A lot of times the concerns with some of the subcontractors is that they don't have a phone number or email to contact that particular developer or general contractor with any concerns that they might have, regarding their bid or specifications or anything like that. So you want to make sure that you have a name, phone number, and email contact, so those interested contractors are able to contact you for any additional questions or concerns. The subcontractors should, if they're interested, they'll complete the eBid announcement and submit it and follow the instructions that you listed on the eBid announcement. In regards to Section 3, Section 3 requires that the bid tabulation be completed at the end of your solicitation. So after your bid due date, 7 business days after that, a pre-award services is looking for the general contractor or the developer to submit a bid tabulation to indicate that which awarded contracts were to Section 3 business concerns, if any, or indicate that a bid was not received from a Section 3 business concern, or if the successful candidate was not a Section 3 business concern, then a letter of explanation will be required detailing why you did not select a qualified Section 3 business concern. And like I said, it will be required, it's a Section 3 requirement, 7 days after the bid due date has closed. Employment opportunity announcement requirements. So this is for any new employment opportunities. We're not asking you to go out and create any, but if you have any new employment opportunities, you will require, the Section 3 requirement is for you to direct those opportunities to our Section 3 workers. So you will definitely be required to complete an EOA announcement and submit it to my attention for review and approval, and then it will be disseminated out to the Section 3 worker directory. Once it goes out to the directory, you have your results. You will be required after 7 business days after the bid due date on the EOA announcement to provide the name of the new hire, their Section 3 classification, or an explanation if the opportunity did not result in you selecting a Section 3 worker. Here's a copy of what an employment opportunity announcement is for. This is only for employment opportunities. So you'll put the date. Application deadline is 2 weeks. 2, the project name from the project description. You want to put all of the opportunities that's available, that, you know, and then that particular certified Section 3 worker will complete it and then return it back to you. Make sure that you have a contact name, phone number, and email in case that interested Section 3 worker has any questions or concerns. Next, we have pay or play. In this section, I will be discussing the pre-award pay or play requirements. Pay or play was established in July 2007 and is governed by Executive Order 1 through 7. The City of Houston requires any prime contracts that are valued at $100,000 and any related subcontractors valued at $200,000 to participate in the pay or play program. Pay or play requirements during the pre-award phase will only be required from the developer if they're serving as a general contractor or the assigned general contractor. I do not need these forms submitted for any subcontractors. Only the developer or the assigned general contractor will be required to complete POP 1, which is the pay or play acknowledgement form. POP 2 is the pay or play certification of compliance with the pay or play program. POP 3 is the pay or play program list of subcontractors. And also we have the B2G management access form. These pay or play documents must be submitted for review and approval prior to scheduling of the pre-construction meeting and notice to proceed. So the contractor will be required to complete Form 1, which is POP 1, pay or play acknowledgement form. You're just acknowledging that the pay or play program and you're agreed to comply with the pay or play program. You will complete it and submit it. The POP 2 is your certification of compliance. You will choose how will you participate in this program. Will you pay $1 per hour for each hour of work performed on the project, play by providing healthcare benefits to your covered employees, or both, meaning you will pay for some of your employees or provide healthcare insurance for other employees. You will complete this POP 2 form entirely. POP 3 form is our list of all subcontractors. This form, I need you to indicate all subcontractors, suppliers, consultants, professional services providers. I need you to list anyone you intend on utilizing on your project. If they are a supplier, then we know suppliers are exempt. So I'm looking for you to put the supplier name, that they're a supplier, their amount, and then on the end, you're gonna check NA. If their contract is under $200,000, I still want you to list the subcontractor. List if there's, put the subcontractor amount, and then you're gonna put NA. If they are a subcontractor and their contract exceeds $200,000, then you need to indicate, are they gonna pay, play, both? I'm looking to ensure that all of your subcontractors or suppliers that you listed on your MWSBE participation plan, they should be listed on your POP 3 form. All of your certified Section 3 business concerns that you listed on your Section 3 participation plan, they should be listed on your POP 3 form. Now we have the B2G access form. This form will be required to be completed by the designated staff member with the developer or the assigned general contractor. They will be the ones that will ensure that pay or play compliance meets program requirements in the management system that we utilize, which is B2G. Required solicitation documents. I will discuss solicitation information as it relates to advertising. So if the developer is advertising for a general contractor or prime contractor, then required solicitation language and documents must be submitted to my attention for review and approval prior to advertising. So solicitation language that I provide to the developer is that MWSBE, we have this, standard language that must be included that tells you what the goal is, that the contractor has reviewed the MWBE policy and good faith efforts. Section 3 is just the standard language letting you know that performing on this contract, that you will meet, the Section 3 requirements as defined in 24 CFR Part 75. Pay or play solicitation language is saying that you're going to comply with the City of Houston Pay or Play program set forth in Executive Order 1 through 7. Updated contract requirements. So effectively, April the 7th, 2022, there has been updated provisions that requires developers and general contractors to ensure that in their contracts with subcontractors and lower tiers, that these agreement terms are expected to be included. So you have the domestic preferences, we have prohibition of certain telecommunication technology. These clauses and provisions must be included in your contract. Prime contract required documents. So the developer and the contract with the general contractor, you must reference and include documents relating to the local, state, and federal compliance requirements. It is important that you keep an updated copy of the federal labor standard provisions as it relates to the minority women small business enterprise, Section 3, and pay or play. You want to make sure that you always have an updated contract compliance form packet included in your construction contracts. For the general contract, you want to make sure you have that document 808, which is the City of Houston MWSBE program requirements, and a copy of the City of Houston Good Faith Efforts policy. If you're working on any previously approved CDBG, DR17 multifamily projects, we require that the workforce provision Appendix 15 is included in those contracts. So before you execute a contract, I need the developer to ensure that I receive a draft copy of the construction contract to review and approve required compliance language and documents for the applicable programs. Do not execute the contract without submitting it over to contract compliance to review. This could be a legal issue. We want to ensure that all applicable program requirements, language, and documents are included in your contract agreements. Pre-award compliance red flags. These are some of the concerns that I see when submitting these pre-award documents. Signed letters of intent are not submitted with participation plan. You must have signed letters of intent, MWSBE in Section 3, with your participation plans. They must be signed by the developer and or general contractor and that Section 3 business or MWSBE certified subcontractor or supplier. Failure to have your Section 3 business or MWSBE firm sign the letters of intent. That will have your Section 3 or MWSBE participation plan deemed non-responsive. Those signed letters of intent must be signed. Listing firms on your Section 3 participation plan that are not currently certified with Housing Community Development Department. Please make sure that their certification is active, not pending, not waiting for a renewal. You must ensure that before submitting a Section 3 participation plan, that those businesses listed for 10% and 3% soft cost goal requirements are currently certified with Housing Community Development. On your MWSBE participation plan, you want to ensure that their certification is active. With the City of Houston Office of Business Opportunity, you can always go to the online directory to ensure that they are currently certified. A lot of contractors like to say, "Oh, I'm certified." They might be certified maybe with HUD, or possibly HUB, but that certification does not count for Section 3 or MWSBE. When contractors are substituting SBE, make sure that it's not more than 4%. Contractors failing to demonstrate meeting all Section 3 numerical goal requirements. We have the 10% hard cost, we have the 3% soft cost, and we have the labor benchmark goals. Make sure when you're completing your Section 3 participation plan that you're filling out everything entirely and that you're utilizing Section 3 business concerns to meet the 10% and the 3% soft cost. Listing MWSBEs and Section 3 business concerns for gold credit without notification is a red flag. That is why it's very important to have those signed letters of intent. Do not list any certified MWBEs or Section 3 business concerns on your plans without properly notifying them. Failure to submit pre-award required documents for review and approval in a timely manner will delay project activity, and we will not be able to proceed with a pre-construction meeting or project activities. So if you know that you have an estimated construction start date, you want to make sure that you get those pre-award documents into me in a timely manner. So if I need to review them, if MWSB plan has to go over to OBO, or you have to revise your Section 3 plan, that you're giving yourself enough time to get those documents in compliance so we can go ahead and proceed with the pre-construction meeting and project activity. We want to ensure that all of our HCD projects starts out successfully and that they're actually in compliance. Frequently asked questions in regards to pre-awards. When are pre-award documents required to be submitted? So before a pre-construction meeting and the issues of a notice to proceed, you will be required to submit those pre-award documents to my attention for review and approval. Who do we submit the pre-award documents to? Lakeisha Tates, lakeisha.tates@houstontx.gov. What are the next steps following the submission of the pre-award documents? So standard processing time for pre-award documents is 7 to 10 business days. Once I review your documents, they're completed and compliant, then we'll proceed with, pre-construction meeting and project activities. If your MWSB plan is deemed non-responsive, what is the next step? If your plan is deemed non-responsive, then it will be forwarded over to the Office of Business Opportunity, which you require those 3 documents, 470, 471, and 472, along with your supporting documents, your scope of work. All of that will be forwarded over to OBO for further review and evaluation. They have a 7 to 10 business days. All the communication will be between Office of Business Opportunity and that assigned contractor, and then Office of Business Opportunity will notify myself pre-awards of the determination in the recommendation regarding your MWSBE participation plan only. If the Section 3 participation plan is deemed non-responsive, what is the next step? If you have good faith efforts, I will review acceptable good faith efforts. If you fail to submit good faith efforts along with that Section 3 plan that was deemed non-responsive, I will set up a meeting and I'll discuss how can we cure your Section 3 plan, and then I will look for you to submit a Section 3 plan within 7 to 10 business days so we can go ahead and get that compliant. What are the citywide aspirational MWBE goal requirements? Construction-related contracts that was previously awarded was advertised with a 34% MWBE goal, which 23% was MBE and 11% was WBE, and allowed up to 4% substitution. And only firms certified through the City of Houston Office of Business Opportunity was counted toward participation to meet that advertised 34% goal on construction-related activities. When are the approved HCD categorical goals on construction-related projects? So if you have a new procurement and that new procurement included those approved categorical goals for multifamily is 38%, which 30% MBE, 8% WBE. Public facilities is 35%, which is 20% MBE and 9% WBE. Then single family, we have a 29% categorical goal, which is 21% MBE and 8% WBE. What are the Section 3 numerical goal requirements? So 10% of the hard cost construction budget, 3% of your soft cost budget for non-construction related activities must be directed to Section 3 business concerns. We have that 30% new full-time employment opportunities directed to Section 3 workers, along with your 25% Section 3 worker benchmark, which means 25% of your total labor hours should be performed by Section 3 workers, with at least 5% being performed by our target Section 3 workers. To receive credit towards your Section 3 numerical goal, you want to make sure that the businesses and workers are currently certified through the City of Houston Housing Community Development Department. You can always access Section 3 business concerns, checklists, and applications through the City of Houston Housing Community Development website, which is provided. We also encourage self-certification through HUD, Section 3 Business Registry. However, that certification, HUD Registry, is not acceptable when meeting the Section 3 goal requirements on Housing Community Development Department. How are pre-award good faith efforts evaluated? Evaluation is based on a case-by-case determination to see if the contractor complied with the City of Houston good faith efforts. Like I said, our department, Housing Community Development, does not evaluate good faith efforts as it relates to MWSBE plans. That will be forwarded over to Office of Business Opportunity. As it relates to Section 3, if you have acceptable good faith efforts, we utilize the City of Houston good faith efforts policy to evaluate Section 3 participation plans. Can dual credit be received if a contract is Section 3 or MWSBE certified? Yes. If you have a contractor and certified as an MBE firm through the Office of Business Opportunity and they meet the Section 3 certification requirements, yes, you can receive credit. We encourage that you actually utilize firms that are currently certified MWSB and Section 3 to meet those MWBE and Section 3 goal requirements. When should the EBID or EOA announcement be disseminated? So for new contracting and employment opportunities, you want to get those submitted to me at the earliest phase of the project. You'll go ahead and get those completed, submitted to my attention for review and approval, and then I'll disseminate those contracting opportunities to Section 3 in MWSBE, and then those employment opportunities will be distributed out to our Section 3 workers. So that will help you meet your MWBE and Section 3 goal requirements. Are there any questions and comments at this time? Yes, this recording will be available on the website and will be sent to all of the attendees that previously registered. If you're still saying that you don't have any sound, you might want to log out of the presentation, reboot your computer, and then possibly log back in. This concludes the pre-award services presentation. Thank you for attending the pre-award virtual technical assistance training this morning. So we can provide you an even better experience, we are collecting feedback on how I perform in my presentation. The survey link is provided to you in the chat box, and Patricia Holcomb will be presenting our Section 3 virtual technical assistance training, which will begin at 9:30. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the next presentation.
Good morning. Welcome to the Section 3 Technical Assistance Training for Contractors. My name is Patricia Holcomb. I am a Section 3 Contract Administrator for the City of Houston Housing and Community Development Department. I work in the Compliance and Grants Administration Division, and I will be presenting this portion of today's training. Before I go on any further, please note that this presentation is being recorded for training purposes. Also, note that a copy of this PowerPoint presentation will be sent to you if you have registered for this technical assistance training. If you would like a copy of this PowerPoint presentation and did not register, no worries. Include your contact information in the chat, and we will be happy to send you a copy. Also, at the end of this presentation, please complete the survey. Your feedback is extremely valuable, and it will help in future trainings and presentations. The link to the survey is included in the chat. Now, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns during this presentation, enter them in the chat. We have our Section 3 team on standby to address any questions, comments, or concerns that you may have. We can also be contacted directly. Our contact information is in the chat for your convenience. I want to thank you for attending this presentation today, and without further ado, I will now begin. Okay, our division contact information includes our Deputy Director, who is Kenesha London, and then we have our Division Manager, Crystal Boyce. We're located at 2100 Travis Street on the 9th floor. And this is our website here. Now, there's no need, as I said, you will be receiving copies, so there's no need to write all these websites down and links that we have. Our team member consists of myself, Patricia Holcomb. I'm a contract administrator. Then we have Tiffany White. She is a senior contract administrator. And our newest member, Isabel Kane. She is a contract administrator. Our Section 3 purpose. The purpose of Section 3 is to provide jobs, training, and contracting opportunities for low and very low income persons and for businesses that employ these low and very low income persons through some of our HUD grants and funding programs. Topics that I will be discussing today. Well, we went over the purpose just now, but however, we're going to talk about some of the Section 3 benefits, our Section 3 definition, Section 3 threshold, numeric goal requirements, the Section 3 business concerns, Section 3 targeted worker, and Section 3 workers, our Section 3 directories, the certification processes, EBID, EOA, and bid tabulation, our post-award activities. We're going to go over our compliance form packet for contracts over $100,000 as well as contracts under $100,000. We're going to go over the LCP tracker auditing system, our contractor's performance, the closeout evaluation, and then I'm going to give you some resource links. Our Section 3 benefits it consists of contracting, employment, and training opportunities generated for low and very low income persons and businesses that employ such individuals. It also helps businesses and workers foster relationships on community development projects. Also, it provides preference and regular alerts to certified business concerns and workers when contracting and employment opportunities arise. So our Section 3 definitions. Okay, you're going to hear these words a lot dealing with Section 3. However, one is contractor. A contractor is defined as a recipient to perform work in connection with expenditure of public housing financial assistance or for work in connection with a Section 3 project. Or it may be a subrecipient for work in connection with a Section 3 project. A subcontractor is defined as any entity that has a contract with a contractor to undertake a portion of that contractor's obligation to perform the work in connection with the expenditures of public housing financial assistance or for a Section 3 project. A Section 3 covered contract is any contract or subcontract, and that is including any contracts for professional services that is awarded for work generated by a Section 3 covered project. Section 3 requirements do not apply to material supply contracts. Our Section 3 covered project is a project that involves the construction, reconstruction, or rehabilitation of housing or other public construction. Labor hours are defined as the number of paid hours worked by persons on a Section 3 project. Low-income individuals are defined as workers residing in the Houston metropolitan and the non-metropolitan areas who do not exceed the 80% HUD area median income limit. And then we have youth build programs. The youth build programs are programs receiving assistance under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. Our Section 3 threshold. Section 3 compliance actually complies to all contracts in excess of $100,000 for housing construction, rehabilitation, or public construction. Section 3 numerical goal requirements include contracting goals. That's 10% of the construction budget. We also call this the hard cost budget. It must be directed to our Section 3 business concerns. Then there's 3% of the non-construction budget, also known as soft cost. It must also be directed to our Section 3 business concerns. Then we have labor hour goals. That is include that 25% of all labor hours must be by Section 3 workers. And there's 5% of all those labor hours must be by Section 3 targeted workers. Our Section 3 business concern. Okay, Section 3 business concern is defined as a business concern that meets at least one of the following criteria documented within the past 6-month period. Our qualifying category 1 is if 51% of the business is owned and controlled by a low-income person or persons. Qualifying category 2 is when 75% of the business labor hours performed over the prior 3-month period was by low-income person or persons. And then there's qualifying category 3 is when 51% of the business is owned and controlled by current public housing residents or residents who currently live in Section 8 assisted housing. Our Section 3 worker and targeted workers. Our Section 3 worker is any worker who currently fit or when hired within the past 5 years fit at least one of the following. Number 1 is if that worker's income for the previous or current calendar year is below the HUD income limits. 2, if that a worker is employed by a certified Section 3 business. And then there's 3, if that worker is a part of a youth build program. The Section 3 targeted worker. A Section 3 targeted worker means, can you please, everyone, please mute your computer? Thank you. Okay, a Section 3 targeted worker means any worker who is, number 1, employed by a Section 3 business concern, or they can be a worker who currently fits or when hired, fit at least one of the following categories as documented within the past 5 years. Number 1, they could be a resident of public housing or Section 8 assisted housing. They could be a resident or of other public housing projects or Section 8 assisted housing managed by the Public Housing Authority that is providing the assistance, or they can be a part of a youth build program. Section 3 directories. Okay, this section, in order to receive credit towards numeric goal requirements, the City of Houston projects, businesses must be certified through us, the City of Houston Housing and Community Development Department. The Housing and Community Development Department maintains an online list of eligible Section 3 businesses, and we notify them when contracting opportunities are available. Currently, we have 138 certified businesses in our directory. Now, over to the right, you'll see the snippet at the top is a snippet of our Section 3 management system. This is what comes up when you go to that website. And this here, if you can apply for certification, you see where it says vendor certification, you can apply for certification, or you can drop down and go to the directory by clicking Section 3 directory. If you click Section 3 directory, this bottom screen will come up. You can search by company's name, or you can search by the company's, the business description. Either or, if you're looking for workers or subcontractors to work on your projects. Okay, then we have our Section 3 worker directories. In order to receive credit towards numeric goal requirements, workers must be certified through us, the City of Houston Housing and Community Development Department. There are many other certifications out there, and we encourage that you apply for as many as you can. However, in order to receive numeric goal credit for these projects, you would have to be certified through us. The Housing and Community Development Department maintains an online list of eligible Section 3 workers by their skill or trade and notifies them when employment opportunities are available. Currently, we have 611 certified workers. Okay, and over to the right, there is a snippet of what you'll kind of like a little instructions on how to go in and what you'll see when you go into the website and how to click or what have you. But this is a snippet of how to go in and get that directory, a copy of it. Okay. Then our Section 3 worker directories, we have two different directories. We have the published directory and we have the non-published. Okay, the workers can opt into being placed on the public Section 3 worker directory, and that goes onto our Housing and Community Development Department's website. This, if you want to be published, these workers can receive the email notifications of employment, training, and other opportunities. On their worker application, there's a number 8. It says, I agree to having my information published in the City of Houston's Section 3 Worker Online Directory. If you click yes, you will be in the published directory. If you click no, you will be in the non-published directory. And the non-published directory, these workers, if they check that, they can opt out of the public directory and they do not receive any email notifications on any opportunities. Okay. Our Section 3 certification processes. Our application processes consist of, our business, Section 3 business application, and then we accept those through the B2G Now system that we just went over. Then we have our Section 3 business application directory. We went over that, where you would be able to go and get copies of the directory, or you can see the directory if you need businesses, subcontractors to work on your projects. And then we have our Section 3 worker applications. This is the link for that. Again, you will get copies of this presentation, so there's no need to write all these links now. Okay, we have our Section 3 mobile unit. I'm very excited about this unit. This is a new unit. It's recently a new unit, and we the Section 3 mobile unit, they will actually come out and assist with on-site certification of workers and subcontractor businesses. Okay, so now there, I know, people, I don't have time to fill out the certification. I don't understand. So you can schedule this Section 3 mobile unit to come out and assist with getting your subcontractors certified, as well as getting your workers certified to help meet your numeric goal requirements. Okay, they are available for economic opportunity presentations, and they also share community and essential resources. eBid, bid tabulations, and employment opportunity announcements. Our eBid requirements: when contracting opportunities arise throughout the duration of the project, an eBid announcement must be submitted for dissemination to the Section 3 businesses in the Housing and Community Development Department's online directory. The eBid should be sent to the Section 3 contract administrator for dissemination to the Section 3 businesses in our directory, the Section 3 business directory. The contractor will review all bids received and should award contracts based on the Section 3 procurement guidelines, depending on if bid was construction or non-construction. The contractor will submit a bid tabulation after all bids are received. The bid tabulation should indicate which awarded contracts were to a Section 3 business, if any, or indicate if that Section 3 business was not received. Why they weren't received. And if a contractor fails to meet the numeric goal requirements, records that demonstrate efforts to comply with Section 3 goal requirements should remain readily available for reporting and auditing purposes. Again, remember, just as Lakeisha said previously, if we are not asking you to go out and create any job opportunities or contracting opportunities. However, if their contracting opportunities arise, we expect for you to go through this eBid process. Okay, this is a copy of the eBid announcement form. This is the form that you will send your contract administrator. However, I love to point out that date. Make sure that date is correct. Don't send me a date. If it's today is September 20th, do not send me a eBid announcement with September 10th on as far as the date. The solicitation date has to be 14 days open. The bid due date has to be 14 days from the date that you submitted to us. Okay. And make sure all the fields are filled out, the summary of work, make sure you have the description and everything. Then we have a sample of our bid tabulation. This is a sample of our bid tabulation. You can submit this bid tabulation. It should be submitted to us 7 days after your bids have returned. You made your selection of however. This bid tabulation is just a sample. If you have your own bid tabulation that you use and you capture all the fields here that we're asking, you can submit that one as well. Then we have our employment opportunity announcement. When new hire opportunities arise throughout the duration of the project, an employment opportunity announcement must be submitted for dissemination to our Section 3 workers in our Housing and Community Development Department's online directory. HCDD must be notified of the results. The results must include the name of the new hire, the Section 3 classification, and an explanation if that Section 3 worker was not selected. This is a copy of the EOA, the Employment Opportunity Announcement. Again, that date is very important. Make sure the date is correct and make sure that application deadline date is at least 14 days to give the solicitation, okay? And fill all the fields. Make sure that another thing, the contact name. If they're interested, give the contact name, email address, and our phone number so they'll know who to contact if they're interested in this opportunity. Okay. Then we have our post-award activities. Contractor requirements for post-award. A Section 3 participation plan with letters of intent, also known as the LOI, must be executed with pre-award services prior to scheduling that pre-construction meeting and obtaining the notice to proceed. A pre-construction meeting will be held with the owner developer and prime contractor to discuss program rules and compliance expectations. This is very important. Contract compliance personnel and subcontractors are strongly encouraged to attend the pre-construction meeting to ensure compliance requirements are understood before the project activity commences. Okay. Our Section 3 covered contracts must include the federal regulations. That's that Chapter 24 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Part 75. It should include the DR-17 multifamily projects must include this workforce provision Appendix 15. Also, the Federal General Services Administration System for Awards Management, also known as the SAMS.gov, and that Texas Controller search results for each contractor and subcontractor performing on the project is required at the execution of a contract annually. The prime contractor must ensure all contractors comply with numeric goal, reporting requirements, and review documents for accuracy before submitting to us. Okay, the prime contractor must report and submit any contract changes and/or change orders in LCP Tracker. Section 3 signage must be on site at the project in a size visible from the street. And this is a copy of that sign. Now, the signage, just like I said, it has to be visible to the street. It needs to be weather protected. We don't require a certain size, just as long as it is visible at street level. Also, where you see it says project name, and then it says insert name, contact, please, if you get that, take that out and put the project name there, and also put insert the name and the contact person, if in site supervisors or what have you. Okay. Our compliance form packet. This is a compliance form packet for contracts greater than $100,000. Okay, compliance forms must be submitted by contractors and the subcontractors no later than 5 business days from execution of the contract agreement. Initial requirements include a compliance cover page. This form captures vital contractor and subcontractor information, and this is used to set up the project in various systems. Then we have our start of work notice. This form must be submitted when work starts on a project. We have our request for contractor or subcontractor clearance form. This form is a verification that the contractors and subcontractors are eligible to perform on federally funded projects. We have our SAMS.gov results. This result is a verification that contractors and subcontractors are not on the excluded parties list. We have our Texas Controller search. This research results is a verification that contractors and subcontractors are not on the barred vendor list. Then we have our conflict of interest form. This form is a verification that owners and developer, the contractors, and subcontractors have no conflicting relationships. Okay, that SAMS.gov, the Texas Controller result, and the conflict of interest are annual forms. Every year, January 1st, if they're still on the project, they are required to update that form. Contractors, Section 3 compliance certification form. This is a form that must be submitted and completed by the prime contractor, the prime, the contractors, and the subcontractors, acknowledging to abide by the Section 3 regulations. Then we have that permanent employee list. This is a list of all employees who are employed prior to the start of work on the project. Regardless if the work is on a particular project or not, submit this form once unless a change occurs. We have our first source hiring agreement. This agreement is to adhere to the Section 3 policies when hiring individuals. We have our workforce analysis form. This form indicates the need or no need for new hires. This is a forecast form. Then we have our internal capacity affidavit. This affidavit should be submitted once, and this only if that subcontractor does not have need for lower tier subs or for new hires for the duration of the project. Then we have our termination of work notice. Our termination of work notice, this is a form that must be submitted when work ends on the project. We have our compliance form packets for contracts over $100,000 for monthly requirements. Right, a few items that we would require monthly. Our Section 3 monthly utilization plan. This is a major form that we would need monthly. This form lists the subcontractors utilized monthly and or when changes occur on the project. Then we would need a monthly internal capacity report. This is only if you sign the affidavit, the Section 3 affidavit. This is an attestation of the internal capacity status, saying that you are still at internal capacity. If you did not sign that affidavit, and you will be required to submit a monthly activity report. This monthly activity report captures hours worked by both Section 3 and non-Section 3 employees for the length of the project. And then we have our Section 3 monthly labor hours and employee report. Now, this report is required from the prime contractor only, and they will track, it will be tracked monthly, and this is the achievement of that 25% Section 3 worker goal and that 5% Section 3 targeted worker labor goal. Okay, our Section 3 utilization plan. This is a copy of the Section 3 utilization plan. This form is required monthly from the prime contractor, the subcontractor, the lower tier subs with contracts over $100,000. Okay, the things that I want to point out on this form is the month and year. Make sure you get that correct. Make sure that the contract amount is correct. Make sure if it's hard costs only for this particular project, you would fill out 2A, 2B, and 2C. Make sure there is something there. Then, if it's a soft cost contract, you would fill out 2D, 2E, and 2F. Now, if you have both hard and soft costs, you would fill them all out. Okay. Also, make sure you put down if the prime or subcontractor is self-performing. I know a lot of people miss that. They don't put yes or no there. We need you to answer that. Then you would list all your subcontractors that you have working on the project. Okay. Now, if those things that I pointed out are not on this form, we will reject it. And that's something that we do not like to do, is reject it, because that makes you have to go back, and then we have to go back. And so we don't want to reject this form, but this is a form that gets rejected a lot. Okay, we have our monthly internal capacity form. This is a form that is required from the subcontractor with a contract of $100,000 or higher who are self-performing the scope of work indicated in the contract. Should subcontractors change, the subcontractor must inform that prime contractor, who in turn informed your assigned Section 3 contract administrator. Monthly compliance reporting submission will be adjusted when the internal capacity status changes. This is a very simple form. Just basically fill out all the fields here and turn that in monthly. And then we have our Section 3 monthly activity report. This is a form that's required for the prime and the subcontractors with contracts over $100,000 who have lower tier subcontractors to perform scope of work indicated in the contract. Should subcontractor status change, the subcontractor must inform the prime contractor, who in turn inform their assigned Section 3 contract administrator. Monthly compliance reporting submission will be adjusted when the subcontractor status change. This form, another fairly easy form to fill out, just basic information at the top. Okay. Our monthly labor hours and employee report. Now, this form should be submitted by the prime contractor for all their subcontractors working on that project. This form tracks achievement of that 25% Section 3 worker goal and that 5% Section 3 targeted worker goal requirements. Excel version of the document is available, which includes formulas to assist with completing this form. So basically, you will fill out most of this, but when you get to that 25% Section 3 goal and that 5%, and then you have your actual labor hours. If you use the one the Excel version that we have available, that will once you put in your total number of employees and your total project labor hours, those numbers will automatically generate. So we help you guys out with that one. Then at the bottom, you would list on Section A, you would list all your Section 3 workers. And then under B, you would list all your Section 3 targeted workers. Okay, compliance form package for contracts less than $100,000. They include contracts under $100,000 are not subject to Section 3 requirements. However, contractors with contracts less than $100,000 are only required to submit the below documents. Those documents include a start of work notice, the SAMS.gov results, and remember that's where you have to search the business, the owner's name, and the company's employee identification number. Then you would have to submit a conflict of interest form, as well as a Texas Controller debarred vendor search. You would have to submit a contract agreement, a master service agreement, or a purchase order. And you would have to submit a confirmation of subcontract contract amount form. We also call that a COSCA form, and a termination of work notice. Now, should the contract increase to $100,000 or higher, then that's when Section 3 requirements will be enforced at that time. This is a copy of our start of work notice. This form is required from the prime contractor, the subcontractor, and the lower tier subcontractors. This form indicates to the assigned contract administrator when to begin monitoring and collecting applicable compliance documents from the prime contractor, the subcontractors, and the lower tier subcontractors. Very simple form to fill out. Okay. Then we have our request for prime contractor, subcontractor clearance form. .gov search. Okay, this form is required from the prime contractor, the subcontractors, and the lower tier subcontractors with every executed contract agreement and annually. The date and website details must be visible on the search results for the business name, the owner's name or names, and the employee identification number. If you submit this, everything is filled out correctly, and that is not date stamped at the top or the bottom, we will reject it and ask you to resubmit. Okay, this is our debarred vendor list result. This is a copy rather of the debarred vendor list results. Okay, this is required for the prime contractor, the subcontractor, and lower tier subcontractors with every executed contract agreement and annually. The date and website details must be visible on this result as well. Contract agreements. A contract agreement, an MSA, and a purchase order is required from the prime contractor, the subcontractor, and the lower tier subcontractors performing on the project. Executed contract agreements must be submitted within 5 business days to the Housing and Community Development Department. All executed contracts must include the contract date and project name, the contracting party's business name or names, the contract amount, the scope of work, the signatures and dates for prime contractor, from the prime contractor, the subcontractor, or the lower tier subcontractors. There should be addresses of home or homes for the single family projects. There should be the federal regulations, that chapter 24 of the Code of Federal Regulations, part 75, for all the contracts over $100,000. And then there should be a DR 17 workforce provision. It's Appendix 15 on the DR 17 multifamily projects. Okay, this is a copy of our COSCA form. We call it COSCA form, but it's the confirmation of subcontract amount form. This form is required from the subcontractors and the lower tier subcontractors. If changes occur to increase contract amount to equal or greater than $100,000, an updated form is required, and Section 3 monthly monitoring will begin. Now, on this form, I'd like to point out that we have 2 sections. The top part is basic information, but at the bottom, if you're filling this out, it's a contract under $100,000, you would have them to complete A, submit that form. However, say if the contract is of $90,000 and later on, months pass, it goes like $20,000 more. It's a change order come through, okay? So you would resubmit this COSCA form. However, the second time they submit it, they will complete B, saying that their contract amount has increased to equal or less than $100,000. That way, that will give us, your Section 3 contract administrator, the notification that, hey, now I need to monitor him as Section 3, okay? So make sure you be aware of that one. Okay, the termination of work notice. This is a termination of work notice. We also call this a TOW. This form is required from the prime contractor, the subcontractors, and the lower tier subcontractors. This form is submitted when scope of work performed by the prime contractor, the subcontractors, and the lower tier subcontractors is complete. Indication to the assigned Section 3 administrator that applicable Section 3 compliance forms are no longer required. Also, this form is used to determine whether the prime contractor, subcontractor, and lower tier sub, they are excluded from the annual search requirements. That's that SAMS, the controller, and the conflict of interest forms. I get a lot of people at the end of the year, well, at the beginning of the year, when I request for these annual documents, oh, well, they finished their work in October and November and December. But if I don't have this termination of work notice, I don't know that. So make sure you get your termination of work notice as soon as those companies finish their part of the project. Okay, we have our single family requirements. Subcontract agreements are required for every subcontractor working on a project address. A master contract agreement with the purchase orders is also acceptable. The prime contractor must submit a first source hiring agreement, a Section 3 compliance certification, a permanent employee list, and a workforce analysis form. These are one-time only forms. That prime contractor must conduct a SAMS.gov search on each subcontractor and lower tier subcontractor performing on the project. They need to search again. We can't stress this enough. Search their company's name, their owner's name, and their company's employee identification. The prime contractor will submit a contract cover sheet, a Section 3 utilization plan, a Texas Controller DeBart vendor result, a conflict of interest form, a start of work notice, and a termination of work notice for each subcontractor and lower tier subcontractor performing on each project address. Section 3 utilization plan and monthly activity reports are following the start of work for each project address. All subcontractors and lower tier subcontractors must submit a confirmation of subcontract amount form for each project address. I like to call that COSCA form. That's a tongue twister. But, and then that prime contractor must inform the Housing and Community Development Department of any subcontracting and employment opportunities prior to awarding or hiring for by forwarding an e-bid announcement, an EOA to our office for dissemination to our certified Section 3 workers and Section 3 businesses. Again, just like I said earlier, we are not asking you to go out and create any opportunities. However, if opportunities arise in the duration of that project, we ask you to go through this process. Our LCP tracker auditing system. Okay, following a pre-construction or a kickoff meeting, the Section 3 contract administrator will create the project profile and assign a prime contractor as the prime approver in LCP tracker. The information required to set up a prime and the subcontractor assignments in LCP tracker is captured on the compliance cover sheet found in the compliance form packet. Subcontractors must be assigned to a project in order to submit required compliance documents. The prime contractor is responsible for reviewing and approving the compliance document uploads submitted by subcontractors in LCP tracker. And then in LCP tracker that captures our Section 3 worker certification status and our project labor hours. This is a copy of our compliance cover sheet. This form can be found in our compliance form packet. This a form is required by the prime contractor, the subcontractors, and the lower tier subs. This form must be completed and uploaded in LCP Tracker along with the executed contract within 5 business days of the agreement. Make sure on this form that you definitely complete all the fields, as much of it as you can. If there's some things that you really don't know, like maybe the DUNS number or something like that, just contact us and we can help you with those that information. Okay, then we have our LCP tracker. This is under the employment profile page. The subcontractor you'll see this selection here, and then the demographic certification where the new Section 3 employee type is located. And this is just a snippet of what you'll see and what you will be clicking to add your information in here. Okay, our LCP tracker, prime contractor steps to assign a contractor to a project. There are 6 simple steps. These steps are very simple and these instructions are very good. If you follow these instructions, you will be able to add or assign the contractors to the project. Okay, and that is a 2-step process. The contractor setup is. And this is a snippet of what you'll see in the different fields that just answer those questions, and you should be able to do it with no problems. And then we have our LCP tracker steps to upload documents. So there's 1 through 4, very simple steps to follow and instructions. Follow them and you will be able to upload your documents. And this is steps to upload documents. This is another snippet showing what will come up. You answer those questions. Make sure we're going to go over the document type. Make sure that document type is correct. Make sure your description is correct. And we have, actually it's coming up. Yeah, here it is. We have cheat sheets. So this LCP upload locations. So you see here in the highlighted in the blue, the darker blue, these are the document types. So these are the forms underneath it. So if, say for instance, if you need to upload a start of work notice, you can look under here and you see where it says share compliance forms. And you see that's one of the forms that go under that document type. So this sheet here is very helpful when you're uploading your documents, letting you know what location to upload it. Our deviation request. Deviation request requirements. A deviation is required to add and remove a certified Section 3 business from that approved Section 3 participation plan. A written request from the prime contractor must be submitted to the assigned contract administrator for review to deviate from the approved Section 3 participation plan. The prime contractor must provide evidence to confirm subcontractor was notified and acknowledge the deviation process. The deviation request must include the who, the what, the when, and the why. For our ongoing monitoring, okay, monthly site visits will be conducted randomly to monitor project activities and contractors' participation. The prime contractor will be provided with a compliance status report. We also call this the CSR. That will be sent to you by the 5th working day of each month. This will indicate if the project is compliant or non-compliant with program rules. A deadline will be given for correction of non-compliant items. The Housing and Community Development Department Section 3 contract administrators are required to submit reports to the General Land Office and HUD quarterly and annually that capture Section 3 workers and Section 3 targeted workers, executed contracts, and Section 3 businesses with construction and non-construction related contracts. Submission of required compliance documents in a timely manner is very critical to ensure accurate and reliable reporting. Contractor's performance. This compliance red flags. These are things that we do not want to have to visit. We do not want to have to go through. The unresponsive prime contractors and compliance administrative personnel. If I'm emailing you, if I'm calling you, there's no response. I'm asking for documents. I get no answer, no return calls, no return emails, no response. That's a red flag. Failure to submit change orders, a big red flag. Because if you forget to change, if you do not submit any change orders and your contract was under 100,000 and now it's over 100,000, I have no way of knowing that. So make sure that you submit all change orders so we can make sure that you are in compliance at all times. Failure to meet numeric goal requirements and demonstrate acceptable good faith efforts, that's a red flag. Failure to submit timely required compliance document, red flag. If the compliance monitor conducts a site visit and observes contractors performing that are not included on that utilization plan and or have submitted required compliance document, a huge red flag. Okay, documents that are not uploaded under the correct document type in LCP tracker, that's a red flag. We normally reject those documents. We do not like to reject documents. We want you to go ahead, get those documents in there, get them uploaded in the right document type, get them described correctly, so we can go ahead and accept it and go on to the next thing. Okay, contractors don't submit timely corrective actions. That's a red flag. Now, those red flags can result into substantial non-compliance, which will include payment withholding. Failure to comply with, please mute your mic, someone unmuted. Payment withholding, failure to comply with Section 3 rules will result in withheld payment draws. Termination of contract. At any time, failure to comply with contractual agreement terms can result in the Housing and Community Development Department temporarily suspending and or the termination of the contract. Suspension, debarment, suspension, or limited denial of participation. Upon termination, the Housing and Community Development Department will also include contractors on that nationwide debarred and suspended list of contractors. Project closeout evaluation. A closeout evaluation consists of, it will be conducted rather, to evaluate the prime contractor's achievement of Section 3 numeric goals and compliance requirements. Deficiencies to meet numeric goal and compliance requirements may be corrected by the prime contractor within 14 business days following receipt of the closeout report. Lack of corrective action will be deemed as the prime's inability or unwillingness to do so. Our Section 3 frequently asked questions. I think I've ran out of time. However, the frequently asked questions, I advise you to go through. You guys, just like I said, you will get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. I would advise you to go over all of these frequently asked questions. Even if you did not think of this question, you would still get some more information on our Section 3 process. And it may be a question that you didn't even think to ask, but it's some good, valuable information here. So please look over that when you get your PowerPoint presentation. And then we have some resource links here available for you if you want more information on the Section 3 processes. Okay, if there are any questions, please put them in the chat box. We just like I said, I have ran out of time, and make sure you put your questions in the chat box and we will get back to you. Now, this concludes my presentation. Remember, please complete the survey. The link to the survey is noted in the chat. Also, a copy of the PowerPoint presentation will be sent to you, all, all of you who register for the training. Now, if you would like a copy of the PowerPoint presentation and did not register, remember to include your contact information in the chat, and we will get you a copy. The key to compliance is communication. Always keep the lines of communication open with your Section 3 contract administrator. Our ultimate goal is to keep your projects in compliance. Next on the agenda, we will have Andres Melgoza presenting for the MWSBE Technical Assistance Training, and that will be at 10:30. Okay, again, I want to thank you for attending this presentation and enjoy the rest of your day.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andres Malgoza. I am one of the MWSBE contract administrators for the City of Houston's Housing and Community Development Department. I will be going over the MWSBE requirements for all current and future projects. Please note that this presentation is being recorded for training purposes. Should you have any questions, please write them in the chat box so they can be addressed. Also, we ask that you please complete the survey from the link in the chat box for you to provide your feedback on the presentation. Please be sure that your contact information is listed in the chat box if you did not register so that a copy can be provided to you at a later date once the recording is available. And this presentation will also become available on the city's YouTube channel. Here we have our division contact information. We have Kanisha London, Deputy Director, as well as Crystal Boyce, Division Manager. We're located at 2100 Travis Street, 9th floor in Houston. The MWSBE team members consist of Tiffany Wyatt, Senior Contract Administrator, myself, as well as Carolyn Seals, Contract Administrator. Some of the discussion topics we'll have for today will be the MWSBE policy overview, MWSBE certification benefits, commonly used MWSBE terms, B2G Now participation payment tracker, LCP tracker document submission portal, contract agreements, compliance forms packet, deviation requests, contractor performance, and closeout evaluation. The MWSBE policy overview. It is the policy of the City of Houston to strengthen minority, women-owned small business enterprises participation during all phases of contracts. The objective is to ensure local firms are afforded equal opportunities that promote utilization and eliminate discrimination. HCDD contracts must comply with federal procurement regulations, which mandate contracts to include all necessary affirmative steps to ensure minority, women-owned small business enterprises are utilized to the maximum capacity. As a result, HCDD contracts must adhere to local and federal requirements as it relates to minority, women-owned small business enterprises. Some of the benefits from the MWSBE certification is that you can go to the houston.mwdbe.com site of the Office of Business Opportunity, where you can see that being certified as an MWSBE, you get advantage in procurement selection process. You receive regular alerts of networking and contracting opportunities. Your company profile is listed in the city's MWDB, SBE, PDBE online directory. Opportunity to bid on goal-oriented projects. You're covered under the City of Houston's Chapter 15 ordinance. It adds trust to services offers. And there's other Texas certification agencies that accept the City of Houston's MWDBE, SBE, and PDE certifications. Some of the commonly used MWSBE terms. So general contractor or prime contractor is the main contractor responsible for the overall coordination of the project that includes communication with all involved parties concerning site activity, change orders, subcontractor participation, etc. Subcontractor, a contractor hired to perform portions of work on contract of a general contractor. Supplier, a company that supplies product. Lower tier sub, a firm or individual that received work under another subcontractor that sublets a part of their contract. Your good faith efforts. These are steps taken that demonstrate efforts to meet MWBE goal requirements. MWSBE is the minority, women-owned small business enterprise. Goal-oriented project is a competitively bid project with a MWBE goal requirement. SOW is your start of work, and TOW is your termination of work. Your goal achievement. After a prime contractor is awarded a project on a goal-oriented project, compliance can only be achieved by 1, meeting the goal requirements, or 2, demonstrating acceptable good faith efforts in an attempt to meet the goal. For more information on acceptable good faith efforts, you can visit the site, or you can also contact the contract administrator and I can provide additional information. Only firms certified through the City of Houston's Office of Business Opportunity Participation can be credited towards participation goals. For more information regarding the City of Houston MWSP certification process, you can go ahead and click on that link highlighted there and review additional information. So when we are discussing the goals, MBE and WBE goals are separate and must be met individually. So if you, for an example here, if you've got 25.6% MBE and 14.65% WBE, your goal may be 40.33 as your overall goal. However, you are required to meet each individual goal separately. So at times you may be above one goal for your MBE, however, you have not met your WBE goal. It'll still show that you have not met the overall, you have not met each individual goal, although you've met the overall goal. Post-award compliance requirements. LCP tracker. Following a pre-construction and/or kickoff meeting, a compliance monitor will create the project profile and assign the prime contractor as the prime approver. The prime contractor will be responsible for assigning each subcontractor and supplier to the project in LCP tracker. The prime will also have the capability to review each document submitted by contractors for approval. The information required to set up a contractor assignment would be found on the compliance forms packet cover sheet. Each contractor must be assigned to a project in order to submit required compliance documents. So this something I want to stress is that the prime contractor is to add the subcontractors to LCP tracker. As it states here, once we do the kickoff meeting, I will go ahead and create the profile on LCP tracker, and it is the prime contractor's responsibility to add the subcontractors to LCP tracker. So if you're a subcontractor on the call and you're wondering why you don't have access to LCP tracker, I recommend that you contact the prime contractor and request that they add you to the LCP tracker system. The contractor setup is a two-step process, as you can see with the highlighted and filled out information here: company name, federal tax ID number, and who the points of contact will be. Step 2 will be assigning a contractor to the project. You'll be logging into the site. As you can see for step 2, select to setup from the toolbar tab. Step 3, adding a new contractor and entering their information to save. Step 4, go to setup and click contractor assignment. Step 5, click on add new assignment and select the project and contractor adding. Step 6, selecting the project, enter the field information and press save. These are all steps that the prime contractor will be required to do in order to add that subcontractor to the project. Steps to upload documents. Step 1 is having the document, as you can see, available. As you can see here, that we will accept not just PDF, but other documents and other types there. Now, I do recommend that you upload PDF documents so that if we have to extract those documents and make any edits to those documents internally here, we can go ahead and do so in the PDF format. Step 2 is go to setup and select your add edit document. Step 3, enter the required fields. Step 4, upload the document under the appropriate file name. As you can see here in this screenshot, it shows exactly where you would be clicking there on the eDocuments. Steps to upload documents. Here's an example here where it states the project name, the contractor, if they're a sub to any other contractor, whether they be lower tier subs or a subcontractor to the prime, the document type, where it's going to be located in LCP tracker, your document date, as well as your description. It is very important that you have the description here of the document that you are uploading. Sometimes we will see an LCP tracker where a document may be uploaded, but there is no description stating what that document actually is. Therefore, that will be a cause for rejection in the LCP tracker system. So I highly recommend that you do fill out that description section there. document upload locations. So this information is within the MWSPE compliance packet. As you can see here, it states what annual documents are required, what monthly documents are required, a subcontract agreement, where you're going to be uploading some of this information, your shared compliance forms, which would consist of your compliance cover sheet, your start of work notice, your site visit, and your termination of work. If you're unsure of where to upload these documents, I recommend you review this that is within the MWSPE compliance packet to know exactly where to upload them in LCP Tracker. Document description guide. As you upload these documents here, you will go ahead and describe what the document is that you're uploading. Such as for your annual contractor verification, you'll have your annual request for clearance and SAM results, SAM verification. As you see there, it says year. This is an annual document, so if you're submitting it for 2023, state that it's for the year 2023. As we get into the next oncoming year, if it's going to be required again for that project, as the life of the project has carried on into 2024, you will resubmit that document and label it as the 2024. Same thing for your annual debarred vendor list, as well as your conflict of interest form. Your document description guide, this is for single family only. So if you are working on a single family project, as you can see here, there may be different addresses for each specific project. Some of these contracts may have 1, 2, 3 addresses, some up to 20 addresses. So when you're uploading these documents, please be sure that you list the address first and then what the document is, such as the MWSPE utilization plan, list your address, MWSPE UP, and the month and the year. Same thing for the contract agreement, termination of work, compliance forms, and start of work. Everything must be specific to that specific address on single family home projects. B2G Now payment reporting, MWSPE participation tracker. After a project is awarded, a profile is set up in B2G for payment and participation tracking of certified and non-certified firms. The assigned MWSPE contract coordinator will be responsible for adding contractors to B2G Now. The prime contractor is required to enter payments to subcontractors and suppliers within 5 days of payment receipt from the city. Subcontractor suppliers and professional service providers are required to confirm payments entered by the prime. Automated compliance audit process. So this is the process here when it comes to payments in the B2G Now system. Our SAP city system will populate payments made to the prime contractor. The prime is notified of those payments via email. Prime enters payment data for subcontractors. The subcontractor is notified via email. And a big important one here is that the subcontractor is required to confirm or reject those payments. It'll now turn up in the compliance audit as complete. And if the subcontractor rejects a payment, the subcontractor and prime are notified via email of the discrepancy. So as an example, if a prime contractor has stated that they have paid a subcontractor $1,000 for the month of August, and however, the subcontractor comes back and lists a discrepancy stating, no, it should have been $1,100. Well, both the prime and the sub will be notified that there's a discrepancy within the system. At that point, you would be contacting myself or another contract administrator to go ahead and provide proof of check and invoice of what was truly paid to that subcontractor so that it could be corrected in the B2G system. Once again, I would like to reiterate that subcontractors are required to confirm your payments. Access to contracts in B2G Now. So in order to access those contracts, B2G system with your company credentials, under the dashboard, you're going to click contract. There you'll see a list of all active projects that will appear, and go ahead and access the project that you are looking to review in the B2G Now system. Prime contractor payment process. The prime can report individual payments or subcontractor payments all at once. So as you see here, the screenshot, of the prime contractor reporting those payments. Here on the left-hand side, they're stating the dollar amount for the amount paid, and you're seeing the date of the payment date. Take note of the information there that's listed in red, where it's saying if you're entering multiple payments, enter the date of the first payment for that month. Prompt payment. Yes, the contractor was paid within 10 days. No, the subcontractor was not paid within 10 days. All of these are required to be, you're required to have one of those checked there. Payment detail, this is optional. However, it will help out the process if there is any kind of discrepancy or a way for the subcontractor to confirm payments. If you've got a check handy that says you paid that contractor $1,500 and this is the check number, then the subcontractor, when he goes in there to confirm, he can see that and make sure that that they have been paid that amount. Yes, this is correct, and it speeds along the process. It also helps in the B2G Now system so that you don't show that there's discrepancies. Hey, there's still 20 subcontractors I need to confirm payments. The more you enter here and enter the correct information, it'll speed along the process. If for whatever reason you've entered, let's say here you've listed $1,500, however, you've accidentally left off a zero and it should be $15,000 and you've already hit save and entered that information, you'll need to go ahead and contact me or another contract administrator to go ahead and correct that. Subcontractor payment confirmation process. This is what's going to be showing up when a subcontractor receives this email. So if the prime contractor has listed for the month of July that they paid to you $5,000, that subcontractor is simply going to be clicking correct, incorrect. If this is the final payment, could not be the final payment if they're going to continue working on the project or there's still retainage to be received. Is prime withholding retainage? Yes or no question there. An option to attaching files, any comments that are optional, and then go ahead and hit save. So as a prime contractor, you're required to make sure that your subcontractors are confirming these payments. The subcontractor's compliance point of contact that's listed in the B2G Now system for the project is who will be receiving these emails. So when we receive the compliance cover sheet from the LCP tracker, from the that's uploaded in the LCP tracker, and it lists John Doe at whatever company, that's who's going to be receiving these emails. They will be receiving monthly emails until they have confirmed payment. And sometimes, the B2G Now system that email to confirm payment may go to the junk mail or to the spam mail. So I recommend that everybody check those folders, make sure that there is nothing in there so that we're not waiting on payment confirmations for 1, 3, 6 months, because that could be a big issue and a potential for withholding payment there. Compliance forms packet. MWSBE compliance packet for certified and non-certified firms. So here we have the annual documents on the left-hand side showing the conflict of interest form, Texas Comptroller debarred vendor list, request for contractor clearance form, SAM verification, which should be listing the company name, principal owners, and EIN for the searches. Reoccurring documents. You have your MWSBE monthly utilization plans for certified and non-certified firms. Okay, other one-time initial documents would be your utilization schedule. Now that utilization schedule is only required from the prime contractor. Utilization plan is a document required from both the prime contractor and the subcontractors. You have your compliance cover sheet, your request for contractor clearance form, start of work, termination of work, executed contract agreements, including the MWSBE mediation clause. At times you'll be uploading your contract agreement, but please note if it does not include the mediation clause, that will be a cause for rejection in the LCP tracker system. Now, please note that that mediation clause will be required to be attached to all subcontract agreements, whether the firm is certified or not. SAM verification. with the SAM searches of the company name, principal owners, and EIN. Note that principal owners is plural there, meaning if you have more than one principal owner within that company, then a search must be conducted for each of those principals of the company. And you also have your Texas Controller DBARD vendor list. Now, as you note, there's some information here, such as the Texas Controller DBARD vendor list that is listed as a one-time initial document. However, it's also on the left as an annual document. Reason being for that is that if you are working on a project where that project is only going to be for the lifespan of 1 year, let's just say that project will only be worked on for the year of 2023, then this is why it's only going to be a one-time initial document. If the project is to go into 2024, that's when it becomes an annual document with the documents required for 2023 as well as for 2024. Utilization schedule. Prime contractor is only required to have the utilization schedule. Utilization schedule is a forecast of your company's utilization of certified firms to meet the participation goal on the project. Therefore, if you're a prime contractor on a multifamily project and you know you're going to end up having 30 subcontractors on the job, you don't need to list all 30 within your utilization schedule. This is simply for certified firms only. So a project of money is to be allocated to certified firms for each month of the project. This form must be completed and submitted for review and approval before the start of work for each time there is a change to the plan. A new plan must be submitted when submitting a deviation request and responding to a not meeting goal letter. Therefore, if you're going to be starting on a project in October, you are submitting your utilization schedule for construction, professional services, and purchasing. When you submit this, it is only going to be for the certified firms, and you're going to be listing within those months what your projection is that you're going to be paying these certified firms for those months. If you estimate you're going to be paying $10,000 in November for this firm, another $20,000 in December, that's what you would be listing. And this is utilized for the life of the project, as it states on the form. So if you've got a project that's going to be going on 2 years, you're going to have one of these forms for 2023 and one for 2024. Now, as it states here, a new form is required whenever you're doing a deviation request. So if you are deviating from one certified firm and you're adding another certified firm, we're going to need entirely new utilization schedules for all years of the project. And you would then be correcting the original utilization schedule to encompass the new certified firms and listing what's going to be the forecasted spending for those contractors. Now, if let's just say the project started in 2022 and you're deviating in September from a certified firm, when you go to submit your 2022 utilization schedule, those dollar amounts that were originally forecasted, since that has since passed, you will need to input the true dollar amounts of what was paid to those certified firms for previous payments. You can then utilize forecasted payments moving forward. When you are responding to your not meeting goal letter, if we're stating that you are not meeting the goal, and it's showing up in red that you have met the MBE but not the WBE portion of the project, then you will be attaching this, which will help us understand that, hey, maybe your certified firms aren't going to be coming onto the project until a later time, until it gets, the last couple of months of the project. That's perfectly fine, but this is where you need to have that explanation in your not meeting goal response, as well as attaching this utilization schedule. Compliance cover sheet. Prime contractor is responsible for collecting this form to complete contractor setup and access to LCP Tracker. This form must be completed and submitted within 5 business days upon execution of the contract agreement and/or purchase order by all contractors, suppliers, and consulting firms. All fields are required to be completed except for the following: your pre-existing LCP Tracker user ID, your DUNS number, fax number, and certification type. Document must include contractor's point of contact information. If the contractors are utilizing a consultant firm, do not add their information on the document. This compliance cover sheet is extremely important. We cannot add any subcontractors into the B2G Now system without this compliance cover sheet and that subcontract agreement. And these two documents, the contractor executed subcontract, as well as the compliance cover sheet, the scopes of work and NACES code must coincide with one another. When you're filling this out for services provided, do not list a drywall as a scope of work, but your NACES code, when we do that search, because we will perform that search on that code provided, that comes up as painting. That will require this complier cover sheet to be rejected. So please be sure that the information inputted is completely correct. When you are submitting your NACES code, please make sure it is the correct code for that scope of work, as well as sometimes some people tend to leave off a couple of digits, in which case when we conduct that search, it is not coming up as a code in the NACES site, and which will also be a cause for rejection and cause for that to be resubmitted. So please make sure that all these documents are correctly listed. And as well as it lists here, the email contact information, the contact that's listed there must be for that company. It cannot be for a consulting firm. If you have a consultant firm, that's great. They're going to require this to have this compliance cover sheet uploaded as well. But if you've got John Doe Framing, you can't have someone else with a consulting firm as the point of contact. That will not suffice. As you can see here for the compliance cover sheet on the left-hand side, we have one correctly filled out. On the right-hand side, you've listed your services that are provided. However, you have yet to list your NACES code. This will be a cause for rejection. Request for prime contractor and subcontractor clearance. The prime contractor must submit a contractor clearance form for every contractor, supplier, lower tier subcontractor, consulting firm, etc., intended to perform on a project. The date must reflect the same year when the SAM verification result was conducted. The request for clearance form and all generated SAM results must be combined in one PDF format. So there's times that you're going to have this form correctly filled out. However, you may not have all the searches for your, you've only searched for just the principals, but you left off the EIN number, or you've only conducted a search by the company name and not by the principals, or only one principal. As you can see, there's two principals listed here. So please note that you will need to conduct a search for all. When you go ahead and upload these documents, please note it's perfectly fine that this may be a 10, 15, 20 page document due to all the searches that you've been conducted and grabbing those 3 to 4 pages of each of those search results. That's perfectly fine. SAM verification. To verify the eligibility of a contractor to work on a federally funded project, a search must be conducted on the following credentials: your full company name, your principal owners, and your employer identification number. Search results and the request for clearance form must be uploaded into LCP Tracker for all contractors and suppliers. No contract should be executed with the prime contractor, subcontractor, or supplier until their eligibility has been verified. The site now requires the creation of an account to conduct searches. The person conducting the search must be logged into the site. Otherwise, no search results can be retrieved. Each search results must include a date from the website when the search was conducted. So everything must be date stamped. If you submit documents where there is no date stamp, there's no knowing that this was conducted in August, in July, in September, whenever it was done. And when you go and upload these documents into LCP Tracker, these searches and the dates that are listed on these documents must be within 1 month. They must be uploaded within 1 month of when the search was conducted. So if you've done searches for something in June, but you're just now uploading them, that's going to be a cause for rejection, and they must be re-uploaded. How to retrieve your SAM verification. You're going to go to the SAM.gov site, click sign in button on the top right corner. Please note, if you are not signed in and you conduct your searches that in the LCP Tracker system. You will need to sign in or create an account, navigate to the header menu of any page, and select search. 6, from the search page, navigate to the left side of the bar, select plus icon to the right, and select domain. Do not select any other item there. When you go ahead and under the filter by check and any words box, enter the applicable information, company name, EIN, and principal names in the search box and press enter. How to retrieve SAM verification. You're going to print the first 3 to 4 pages of the search exclusion matches and ensure that the contractor is not an exact match. When you go ahead and do these searches, some of these searches will come up with 20 pages. This is why we specifically state print the first 3 to 4 pages of the search exclusion to show the matches. And once again, this information and these step-by-step instructions are included in the MWSPE compliance packet. You're going to upload all results generated. So you're going to have your request for prime contractor clearance form, as well as these attachments for all of your searches. If any exact match is identified, contractor, subcontractor, or lower tier subcontractor will not be eligible to conduct any business on federal projects. Any partial matches will need to be verified by HCDD, and additional information may be requested. Proof of non-debarment. So this is for the debarred vendor list. Proof of non-debarment. Prime contractors, subcontractors, suppliers, consultant firms, and lower tiers. Document must include the date from the website when the search was conducted. Do not manually write the date on the document. It's pretty self-explanatory here. This is required by each and every contractor, subcontractor, supplier, and consultant firm. How to retrieve your debarred vendor list. You'll simply follow the instructions listed here, going to the site, scrolling down to procurement resources, and clicking on the search. Click on the debarred vendor list on the left-hand side. The debarred vendor list will appear on the screen. Control P to print or save the PDF. Remember, this document, when you upload it, it must be date stamped. And the date on the document must be within 1 month of the upload date. As you can see, this is simply a pass or fail document when it's uploaded. They're either on the list and they can't be working on the project, or they're not on the list and they'll be okay to work as far as the controlled debarred vendor list. Please note that there's also still the SAM verification. Conflict of interest disclosure. This form will help ensure full disclosure and no personal interests that violate the program rules. Document must include either a wet or electronic signature. Document must include a date. Do not write in the area below the blue line for program staff use only. So go ahead and leave that blank. That is for us internally to go ahead and mark list and date. As you can see, it's simply a pass or fail. Everything's filled out on the left-hand side. If there is no conflict of interest, on the right-hand side, there is no signature, there is no title. That will be rejected in the LCP tracker and be required to be revised and re-uploaded. Your start of work document. This form must be completed by the prime contractors, subcontractors, suppliers, and professional service providers as notice of commencement of work. Document must include both the prime contractor and subcontractor's name. Document must include month, date, and year when the contractor's scope of work has started. Start of work notices submitted with the following language will be rejected. TBD estimated January of 2024. So that is extremely important on this start of work date. When you submit this document, if we see January of 2023, it will be rejected. TBD will be rejected. My recommendation is go ahead and filling this out and uploading this when you know you have a true date. If you know your subcontractor is going to start work on this coming Monday, now you know the true start of work date. Go ahead and fill that out and upload that to the LCP tracker system. Utilization plans. All contractors are responsible for submitting a utilization plan prior to the start of work. All contractors must submit a utilization plan once every month until termination of work. Prime contractors must include all subcontractors, including lower tier subs, supplier, professional services, on their monthly utilization plan. Subcontractors who hire lower tier contractors must include the subs on their monthly utilization plan. A utilization plan is a running tally of all contractors who start work on the project date. Contractors should not delete any subcontractors from the monthly plan. That is extremely important. If you've started on this project back in March, and at that point you only had 5 contractors, it is a running tally. So as you continue to add these contractors, you will continue to continue to add pages. Some contractors on some of these projects have 4 or 5 pages of the utilization plan monthly because each month a new subcontractor, supplier, consultant starts on the job. Therefore, it is a running tally. Do not delete any contractors from this document. Simply go ahead and fill out the top portion of the information. List any subcontractors that you may have. If a subcontractor is self-performing this work, as you can see there is a box to state, is the prime or the sub, are they self-performing their work? If they are, simply click yes, and they don't need to list anybody that's there. If they have one subcontractor that, or is a lower tier subcontractor to them, then they will be listing that contractor. If they have a consultant filling out their compliance documentation for them, they will be required to be listed on that document. Utilization plans, as you can see in the top section, they are not self-performing, therefore they have a listed sub. On the bottom section, they are self-performing, so they do not have any lower tier subcontractors there. Contract agreements. A contract agreement and or purchase order should be executed with every subcontractor, supplier, and professional service provider, including lower tier subcontractor participating on a project. A contract agreement and or purchase order must include the following: your scope of work, your contract amount, signatures and dates from prime and subcontractor, address of the homes, this is for single family, and the mediation clause. This is required for every contract agreement. We're constantly getting contract agreements that are uploaded in the LCP tracker, and someone says, hey, I've uploaded that. Why was it rejected? Why are you not accepting it? Well, you've given me everything other than the mediation clause. That mediation clause, working on a federally funded project that adheres to MWSBE compliance requirements, is required to have that single page document in that subcontract agreement. Now, some choose to add it as a document to the subcontract agreement. Some choose to add the language within the contract agreement. That is merely up to you, just as long as it has the language required. That information for the mediation language is required to be uploaded, and you will be able to find that within the compliance packet. This is the mediation clause listed here. As you can see, there's these 3 items or these 3 paragraphs. This information is required to be used. The mediation is used to try to resolve differences between the prime and subcontractors and get the companies back to working together. Mediation can be initiated by either party or HCDD. Please note that this clause is not only for certified firms. This clause is required to be attached to every single subcontract agreement. If you have purchase orders with some of your suppliers and that's what you're utilizing as a contractual agreement, that's fine, as long as it follows the guidelines and lists the material they're supplying. It's got both parties' names, it's got signatures by both, it's got dates on it, and it has the mediation clause included. Termination of work document. This form must be completed by the prime contractor, subcontractor, suppliers, and professional service providers as notice that the work has been completed. Document must include both the prime contractor and subcontractor name. Document must include the month, day, and year when work has finished. Termination of work notices submitted with the following language will be rejected in LCP tracker. TBD estimated January 2024. So we need an actual date of when their work was completed. We can't say that their work was completed September of 2023. You as the prime contractor or even as a subcontractor, you know when your last work date was on that project. Hey, we finished up everything on today on Wednesday the 20th, and you're going to state 9/20/23 and go ahead and upload that document. A month, day, year is required for this document. Work on hold notices are only applicable to DBRA. So there's times there may be an issue on the project where, hey, I was going to be working or I am working on the project, and now for whatever reason, the work is on hold. This is only applicable to DBRA. It is not part of the MWSBE, Section 3, or pay or play programs. Monthly compliant documents are still required to be submitted for these programs unless a termination of work is submitted. So if the work is on hold for 6 months, you're still required to submit your monthly utilization plan for those 6 months. Now that is fairly simple. If your work is on hold and you haven't added any contractors to the job, then you could utilize your previous month's utilization plan, and you're simply changing the date at that point. You have one for August, one for September, one for October, until work regains momentum, you're back on the job and you've added another subcontractor or supplier, then you're updating that because that is a running tally. But you are still required to have this document submitted even though your work is on hold. For single-family prime contractor requirements, you must submit an executed contract agreement, contract cover sheet, utilization plan, start of work notice, and termination of work notice for every project address. All contractors, including lower tier subcontractors, suppliers, consulting firms, professional service providers, etc., are required to submit a monthly utilization plan on every address by the end of every month. A request for contractor, subcontractor clearance form, and SAM verification, debarred vendor list, and conflict of interest form is required for all subcontractors, suppliers, and professional service providers once throughout the program. If a contractor has not previously worked under this program and/or has not been verified through SAM.gov, verification records will be required to ensure the contractor is eligible to perform on federally funded projects. Single-family subcontractor requirements. As an example, you've got ABC Company. Here you can see there for 1112 Lane Road, they've got the compliance cover sheet, start of work, utilization plans, contract, and termination of work. And then you see there what's the annual documents, request for clearance forms, debarred vendor list, and conflicts of interest. As you can see, these documents are required for each of the addresses other than the annuals. Deviation request. Deviation request requirements. Work designated in your approved plan cannot be completed by any other subcontractor and/or supplier unless you receive permission from the Housing and Community Development Department. To deviate from an approved MWBE participation plan, the request must be submitted in writing to the assigned MWSBE compliance monitor stating your proposed change, the specific reason for removal, and how you plan to meet your MWBE goal. A deviation request is only required to add or remove a certified MWSBE firm. The request should include reasons for the deviation: who, what, when, and why. When removing a firm, a plan to achieve the impacted MWSBE goal is required. A deviation request does not reduce or increase the contract. The contractor is responsible for achieving the approved participation goal at the time of award. Prime contractor cannot replace a certified firm with a not certified firm. So this is extremely important. And even if you've got a certified firm on the project and there happens to be a change order that is now going to reduce that certified firm's contract amount by $100,000, a deviation request is required to state what is the reason for reducing that certified firm's contract amount. Now, if you're looking to add a certified firm to the project, you simply give us the information. And once again, you can contact your contract administrators for further guidance and documentation and any other information required to process the deviation. But you must have all the information that must come to us that gets approved. If that is approved, you will receive a letter stating such. If that is denied, you will also receive a letter stating such and the reason for that denial. Ongoing monitoring. Random site visits will be conducted to monitor the project activities and contractors' participation. Compliance documents will be compared with information gathered from interviewing employees and site action. Documents submitted for reporting and monitoring purposes by all contractors will be reviewed for accuracy and compliance with requirements. The prime contractor will be notified of any items identified as non-compliant via email by the 5th business day of every month. So you will be receiving these compliance status reports, as some of you are aware, which will state which documents are missing, what's required to be submitted. Please make sure you get that filled out and all documents uploaded, as that could be a cause for withholding payment. I will be conducting random site visits where I will be arriving on site, checking in with the on-site point of contact, gathering sign-in sheets determining which contractors are on site. If I observe a contractor on site that we do not have compliance documentation form, an email will be sent to that compliance point of contact for the prime contractor, notifying them of such that, hey, I've seen this contractor on site. All documents, especially the subcontract agreement, amongst all other information, is required to be uploaded in the LCP tracker as soon as possible. Commercially useful function audits. The CUF audit is authorized by the City of Houston's Code of Ordinances under Chapter 15, Article 5, Section 15-84. HCDD will perform CUF audits of certified firms to assess the level of credit the prime contractor should receive for the certified firm's performance. In determining whether a certified firm is performing a commercially useful function, factors including but not limited to the following shall be considered: whether it is performing a real and actual service that is distinct and verifiable element of the work called for in a contract, whether it has the skill or expertise to perform the work solely for which it is being utilized and possesses all the necessary licenses, whether it is in the business of performing, managing, or supervising the work for which it has been certified and is being utilized, whether it is certified in the North American Industry Classification Code and is performing and the firm is certified in that scope. So if I go on site and I see that there is a certified firm on the project, I will be notifying the on-site point of contact there for the prime contractor, but also letting them know that, hey, you have John Doe Drywall out there. They are a certified firm. Therefore, I'm going to need to interview someone from that firm there on site just to be able to ask them a few questions. No one's in trouble. I know sometimes we land on site and everyone gets worried to see the City of Houston on site. We're simply just asking a couple of questions because their firm is listed as a certified NWSBE. So we just want to make sure, if they're doing the drywall, that they are in fact doing the drywall. No one else is doing their scope of work for them. Make sure that that person being interviewed is part of the payroll records, just to make sure that as a certified firm, everything is in order. Contractor performance. Compliance red flags. Prime contractor fails to meet MWBE goal requirements and does not demonstrate acceptable good faith efforts. Prime contractor fails to submit required compliance documents. The prime contractor fails to review and or submit accurate compliance documents for subcontractors and suppliers. Prime contractor fails to complete monthly payments, audits, and B2G Now. Prime contractor fails to submit a deviation request to remove a gold credit firm. Prime contractor fails to comply with program requirements. These are all red flags that could cause us to withhold payment on the project. So please be sure that the prime contractor has uploaded all compliance documents, is reviewing all the items in B2G Now, is making sure that the subcontractors are confirming those payments, and that all deviation requests are properly done so in a timely manner. Substantial non-compliance, payment withholding. If the contractor fails to comply with program requirements, the compliance monitor may recommending withhold of payment draws. Termination of contract. If contractors fail to comply with the terms of the contract documents, HCDD may temporarily suspend, terminate the contract at any time. Suspension, debarment, suspension, or limited denial of participation. Upon termination, HCDD may also include contractors on nationwide debarred and suspended a list of contractors. So these are a few items here that are big problems. I know if you guys were to submit $1 million pay app, the last thing we want to do is hold up your guys' money. However, you are required to be in full compliance on the project. So we recommend that you please make sure all documents are uploaded, submitted. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out to us. Pending closeout project activities. As a project comes to an end, so when site activities are completed under the contract terms, contractors should submit a termination of work notice. The final payment in B2G Now should also be marked final. Retainage payments must be entered in B2G by contractors with the total amount of retainage being held. A project cannot be closed out with any outstanding compliance audits. Outstanding audits are a result of unconfirmed payments and reported payments and payment discrepancies. So this is a screenshot here showing everything here that has, as you can see in the middle there, not reported by Prime. And the lines there, 36 lines there on that first row. So that's stating that they have not submitted if any payments are made to any of those subcontractors listed there. So it is the prime contractor's responsibility to go in there for that month of that year and state, hey, for the month of August, you can go ahead and enter 0. Hey, I did not enter for John Doe Drywall. I did not make any payments to there. You simply hit 0. Whether it's 0 or it's $1 million, you are required. You'll then see confirmed by sub. The subs are required to go in there and confirm your payments. So if I have any subcontractors on the line, I would like to once again state you are required as part of the project to go in there and confirm your payments. You would be receiving monthly notifications to go in there, confirm those payments. If not already done so, please check your spam and junk mail if you are not receiving those in your main email box. Project closeout and evaluation. The closeout evaluation consists of evaluating the prime contractor MWBE goal and compliance with program requirements. Subcontractors' performance may impact evaluation ratings of the prime contractor. And so once again, there's times the project has already been completed. The prime contractor wants, hey, let's hurry up and close this out. The job's been done for months. Well, if you have payments in the B2G Now system that have yet to be confirmed by subcontractors, you have yet to report certain payments, that will hold up closing a project. So if you have any questions or any concerns of that nature, please contact us. But we cannot completely close out a project until both the prime and subcontractor do their part with submitting and confirming payments. Here we have the resources links, 24 CFR 85.36 for the federal procurement, Chapter 15, Article 5 of the City of Houston's Code of Ordinances, the City of Houston's Good Faith Efforts Policy. So one thing I would like to reiterate as we come to the conclusion for MWSBE is that whether you are certified or not on these projects, MWSBE is required to do the compliance monitoring for all subcontractors, suppliers, consultants, and trucking firms on the project. So even if you're going to have a trucking firm, which we've seen recently come out to the site just to deliver a bunch of material, and they're going to be coming routinely, if we go on there and we see them on site, they will be required to upload all of their compliance documents. So please note that whether you are certified or not, your subcontractors, suppliers, consultants on your projects are required to be fully compliant and fill out each and every MWSBE compliance document, have those uploaded into LCP Tracker. So this concludes the MWSBE section of the Technical Assistance Training for Contractors. Are there any other questions that need to be addressed? So if there are no further questions, I would like to once again ask that you click on the survey link in the chat box to provide your feedback so we can better assist you in the future. Please be sure that your contact information is listed in the chat box if you did not register so that you can be provided a copy of this presentation at a later date once the recording is available. And this presentation will also be available on the city's YouTube channel. If you have any questions following the presentation or in the future, please contact myself or any other MWSBE contract administrator to assist you with any questions you may have.
Hello and good morning. Welcome to the Technical Assistance Training for Pay or Play. My name is LaQuinta Burton, and I'm one of the Pay or Play Administrative Coordinators for the Housing and Community Development Department. I will be conducting the Pay or Play Virtual Technical Assistance Training today. Before we begin, please note that I'll be sharing some housekeeping rules. Please stay on mute throughout the presentation. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat box and I will respond to them at the end of the presentation. The presentation will be available at a later date on the Housing and Community Development website and YouTube channel. Please enter your contact information in the chat box if you do not register to attend this class today. We'll be collecting feedback on how we performed in our presentation to provide you an even better experience. Therefore, at the end of each presentation, we will provide a link to a survey in the chat box. Kanisha London is the Deputy Director for the Compliance and Grants Administration Division, while Crystal Boyce is the Division Manager for Contract Compliance. Crystal oversees the pre-award services and leads a team of professionals who administer affordable rental housing compliance, Section 3, Pay or Play, and the minority women-owned small business enterprise, also known as MWSBE programs. Lakeisha Tate is the Administrative Manager for Pre-Award Services and the Pay or Play program. Leslie Joseph is our newest POP Administrative Coordinator, and I myself, LaQuinta Burton. We are both responsible for monitoring contract compliance for Pay or Play for housing and community development projects in compliance with Executive Order 1-7. If you have any questions or concerns regarding Pay or Play requirements and we are not available, you can contact Lakeisha, our supervisor, and her contact information is in the chat box. Today, we'll be discussing the Pay or Play administrative topics such as the POP program definitions, the POP program requirements, POP submissions in B2G, final POP compliance review, and POP FAQs and additional resources. Okay, for the Pay or Play program overview, the City of Houston Pay or Play program was created to level the playing field during the bid process for vendors at a cost. Providing insurance or failure to provide insurance to employees may influence the bid submitted by vendors for city work. Further, the POP program seeks to offset the cost of caring for uninsured residents in the Houston and Harris County area. The POP program requires city contractors to either pay a prescribed amount into the Contract Responsibilities Fund for their uninsured employees by paying into the program, or providing a minimum level of healthcare insurance to their employees by paying. The Contract Responsibilities Fund is used to support health programs by providing city contractors and the uninsured and affordable emergency medical resources, access to health benefits, and assistance to finding social and medical services. Contractors who do not provide healthcare coverage to their employees place a financial strain on both the public and private sectors. The city developed this program in efforts to improve the fairness and contract competition between bidders which choose to offer healthcare and those who do not. For more information, please see Executive Order 1-7. Now I'll be discussing the POP program definitions. The Pay or Play program applies to contracts for prime contractors who are valued at or above $100,000 and valued for $200,000 for subcontractors on professional services, construction, service type contracts, also on-call, work orders, and job solicitations. The Pay or Play program does not apply to any contract in which the primary purpose, which is 50% or more, is the procurement or purchase of property, leases, goods, supplies, or equipment. Interlocal agreements, contracts, intergovernmental agreements, and bulk purchasing. Any contractor for which the City of Houston has not expended any funds, regardless of the funding. If a contractor has an approved POP4 form on file, they're exempt, but the POP4 form must be signed and approved by our OBO department prior to the contract going to council. Any contractors that utilize self-employed, owner-operated individuals to complete services such as truck drivers, day laborers, or 1099 employees, they are exempt as well. If you do have these employees, the contractor must supply a notarized statement on their company letterhead stating that the individual working on the contract by providing their first and last name and indicate that they are a 1099 worker or a day laborer and they are not W-2 employees. These forms must be sent in to be approved by our Office of Business Opportunity as well. POP covered employees are all employees of a covered contractor or subcontractor working on the project, whether they're on site or in the office. Any employee that's over the age of 18, and all employees that work at least 30 hours per week for their employer with any amount of time on a covered city contract. All Section 3 employees on DR-17 projects must be offered POP benefits as well. During the pre-construction meeting, you will be provided, the prime contractor will be provided the POP 1, 2, and 3 documents and the B2G Now Access form. That should be provided prior to the contract starting. Once the contract does start, both prime and subcontractor are required to submit your POP 1 and 2 forms into LCP Tracker. The POP 3 form must list all of your subcontractors that will be working on the contract for prime contractors, and any subcontractors that have a lower tier or a tier 2 subcontractor, they must also provide a POP 3 form. Again, all contractors will be given access to LCP Tracker after the pre-construction meetings and are required to upload these documents into LCP Tracker under the POP Documents tab. Contractors are required to begin complying with POP requirements within 30 days of your start of workday notice. And we do request for you to upload your start of workday notice into LCP Tracker as well. This is a copy of the POP 2 form that should be submitted. Again, you will complete the top information regarding your company's information. The middle section gives a description of the requirements for pay or play, and you would select whether you are paid, play, or exempt. Even if you have 1099 workers, you would still need to complete this form. And at the bottom, you would specify the number of employees that you estimate will be working on the project. Now I'll be discussing the POP program requirements. The paid portion of the Pay or Play program is required to submit weekly workforce audit submissions. Vendors will pay into the program by contributing $1 per covered employee for each regular hour worked or performed on a POP covered contract, not to exceed 40 hours per week per employee. So this means that we will not bill you more than 40 hours a week. Even if your employees worked 50 or 60 hours that week, we are only billing you for 40 hours. All contractors are required to list all active employees, including exempt employees, under the workforce employee list and submit weekly workforce audit hours in B2G for each covered employee on the project. Contractors must provide both the total hours worked and the individual hours worked by each covered employee working on the project. If both columns are not completed, your workforce audit will be rejected. Please add that the hours for the employee will be listed or provided as follows. The total hours worked are the total hours that the employee worked for the employer that week. And the hours worked are the number of hours the employee worked on the city covered project. At the end of each month, invoices will be created based off of the weekly hours entered. And an invoice will be issued to you through the B2G system. Payments will be made through our PayConnect system. POP does not accept partial payments, and invoices must be paid in full. Please be advised that we can request for a copy of your certified payroll or timesheet of each employee to verify hours entered into B2G if we have any questions. Here's an example of the weekly workforce audit submission. So John is a covered employee who is not offered POP benefits. So this means the employer must submit weekly pay submissions listing John hours worked on the project in the B2G Now audit. The second one is John is a covered employee and has insurance through his spouse. The employee should submit and completed and notarized POP 8 form with proof of healthcare insurance via email to the POP administrative coordinator for review and approval. The third option is John is a covered employee and has accepted POP benefits offered to him. So this means that John will be considered a play employee, not a pay employee, and hours are not required to be submitted in the system. This is an example of how the workforce audit looks for paid elect contractors. So the POP 8 form, which is what John submitted in the previous slide for being exempt, is if an employee chooses to be exempt from the POP program for one of the following reasons. The employee is under the age of 18, the employee has healthcare insurance through a spouse, Medicaid, Medicare, and they must provide proof in the form of their insurance card, or the employer refuses the company's healthcare insurance that meets the City of Houston's POP requirements. Contractors are required to submit the employee's completed and notarized POP notarized form to the Pay or Play Administrative Coordinator for review and approval. And if you do not have an approved POP 8 form on file, your employee will not be approved as exempt in the B2G Now system. Once it has been approved, it will be returned to you for you to upload into the LCP tracker system. This is an example of how the POP 8 exempt form appears. Please be advised that if an employee does deny coverage for any reason other than the first 3 items, and they select this last box that states I decline, because the employee must write a legible explanation on the line supplied. Simply putting the word no or I decline without providing a valid reason will cause the form to be rejected. Please keep in mind that all signatures on the POP 8 form must be the original signature and date by the employee. If you are typing in dates on a POP 8 form, your form will be denied. Employees who want to be exempt must fill out the portion that says employee affidavit and sign it dated. And no, the employee cannot have the information typed in. We do not accept POP 8 forms that have been amended on behalf of someone else. Please verify that all employees have correctly completed the form prior to submitting it into your POP administrator for review. We also have the POP 9 self-insured contractor request. This form is available only upon request, and this is for contractors who are self-insured, which means that they utilize their own money to cover their employees' claims. The self-insured contractor may request this form. Once received, they will be required to submit additional documents that must be emailed into the POP administrative coordinator for review. Contractors that have been awarded self-insured status will be classified as play participants because they do have insurance and will report once a year. These contractors also will be responsible for ensuring that they list all of their employees working on the contract into the B2G Now database as play. Again, if you do not have a approved POP 9 form on file, you will not be marked as self-insured. And again, once that form has been approved, it will be returned to the contractor to upload into LCP Tracker. Now I'll move on to explaining the play portion of Pay or Play. So play is the quarterly workforce audit submissions for vendors. Vendors that play are playing by providing health care benefits to their employees, and their health care benefits must meet or exceed the following standards. The employer will contribute no less than 75% of the total cost for a single covered amount per covered employee per month for the premium cost. And the employee contribution, if any amount, will be no greater than 25% of the monthly premium cost. Please be advised that we can request for you to complete a healthcare eligibility verification form and to provide a copy of your pre-printed health benefit package guide that you offer to your employees to verify that you meet this standard. If you're not able to provide the pre-printed health benefit package guide, we will request for an executed copy of your agreement with your healthcare provider. We do not accept insurance cards as proof of healthcare coverage. What is not required? As the Play Elect contractor or subcontractor, you are not required to enter hours into the B2G system. For additional information, you can also review our Pay or Play FAQs, which I'll be discussing later. The Pay or Play submissions for pay portions are submitted on a quarterly basis. The first quarter ends in March for the months of January, February, and March, and those invoices and that audit is due by April 1st. The second quarter will be due by July 1st. The third quarter is due in October, and the fourth quarter is due January of the following year. This is the screen that Play Elect contractors will see in B2G Now when submitting their workforce audit submissions. Again, Play Elect participants are not required to submit hours in the system. So for Play quarterly workforce audits, we do request for the Play vendor to list all of their active employees working on the project, whether on-site or in office, on the workforce employee list. We also require for you to complete a POP7 form listing all of the same employees that will be on your workforce employee list, and provide a copy of your healthcare insurance invoice and summary. So the summary details the employees that are actually being billed for insurance coverage. And we do require the 3 months of each quarter to be uploaded along with that POP7 form. If you have employees that are POP8 exempt, please be sure to mark them exempt when you enter them into the system, and we will approve them once they have been approved by OBO. Again, we do not accept healthcare insurance cards as proof of insurance for Play covered submissions. This is an example of how the POP7 quarterly option reporting form looks. You will complete the top portion of the form and provide your information. As far as your company information, you are not required to provide your group or payer ID. However, the other areas must be completed. We do ask for you to list all of your employees under in the first column. In the second column, if you have new employees that have started, please make sure that you mark that they are a new employee. You do not have to submit in the ID information of the employee, but we do ask for you to submit the 2 columns to the far right, which is the amount that the employer pays, the amount that the employee pays, and the benefit begin and ending year. Now I'll be discussing how POP submissions are submitted to the B2G Now database. So B2G Now is the management system for all Pay or Play workforce audit submissions. No documents for audit submissions should be uploaded into LCP Tracker. Again, B2G is the management system for all Pay or Play workforce audit submissions. The POP7 form, again, will be submitted as a workforce audit quarterly into the B2G Now system. Pay weekly workforce audits, which are your hours that you will be entered, are required to be entered into B2G as well. Once weekly, the weekly workforce audits should be completed. Again, at the end of the month, monthly invoices will be generated and sent to the contractors. Invoices are due within 30 days of the date that the invoice is generated. Again, partial payments are not accepted. We do utilize the Chase portal payment system in B2G Now for all paid invoices. We no longer accept checks as a form of payment. This is the website for the B2G Now database. Okay, so now the B2G Now overview. I'll be discussing how to view POP contracts in B2G, how to add employees into B2G, how to assign employees to contracts, how to submit weekly workforce audits for pay participants, how to fill in the weekly audits, how to save and certify your audits, how to submit your quarterly workforce audits for PLAY participants, and how to upload and attach documents for those audits as well as save and certify. I'm going to first start with the pay weekly hour workforce audit submissions. When you first log into B2G, you will be taken to your dashboard menu. To view your contract for the City of Houston, you will go to your dashboard and select the contract tab. You can also go to the left side of the menu and select search and then contracts to locate your contract as well. Once you've located your contract page, your contracts will appear. This one only shows one contract, but if you have multiple contracts with the city, they will all be displayed here. To select the one that you are inquiring about or going to do your audit on, you will simply select view next to the contract in which you would like to submit your audits. You then will be taken to the contract management screen after you select that button. There will be a few tabs at the top of the page. There are only 4 tabs dedicated to the Pay or Play program. You must include all of your employees that will be working on your contract before you can submit any of your audits. So to do so, you will select the Workforce Employee List tab at the very top of the page. This is also the page that you will select in the event you need to examine, update, add, or deactivate an employee from your contract. Once you've selected the Workforce Employee tab, you can now add your employees by simply clicking the Add Employee tab. This page will open up to the page for you to enter your employee information. We ask that you fill out all the information that has the asterisk at the top and select yes, that the person is active on the contract. Once you've added your last employee to the employee list, you will be able to select the Save and Return button, and it will take you back to the previous page. If you're continuing to add employees to the employee list, you would simply select the Save and New to enter a new employee. Once you've listed all of your employees into the B2G Now system, you will now be ready to add them onto, assign them to your contract. You will select the button at the top of the page that says Assign Employee to Contract. If you do not see an employee listed here in the list, that means you would need to go back to the previous step and assign and add them to your project, add your employee to the employee list. Once you're just ready to assign the employee, once you click the Assign to Contract button, you will be taken to this page here, which allows you to either add all employees in bulk or one at a time, depending on your population. So if all of your employees are pay elect contract employees, you would simply select this button and it will give you a drop down and you can select all at the top and it will mark all of your employees. Then on the second box, you have to make sure you select the correct craft for your employees, which would either be pay, play, or exempt. If your employees are pay, you will select pay. You will enter in the date that they started working on the project, and then you will make sure that they're marked active. Then you will select save, and then you will be taken back to the previous page and you have added them onto your contract. If your employees are play, meaning that you have insurance, then you will select the play option under the craft. Once you select this, you will receive a box notification that lets you know next to that these employees are play, and they will have a red line next to them that says pending review. Once we've reviewed your audits, that information would change. But again, you would have to enter in the same information, which is the start of work date, and make sure you select that they are an active employee. Now, once you successfully completed and added all of your employees to your employee list, you're ready to go to your workforce audit for paid participants. At the very top of the page, again, you will select the workforce audit list. Not the workforce employee list, but the workforce audit list in order to view your audits. When you go into your audit list, the ones that say add to audit or add audit, that means that those audits have not been added. If you see these boxes here, which say view, that means that you're able to go in and view your audit. If there's any red indication in this line here of your audit, that means that an action needs to be taken either on your behalf or on our behalf. In the event that you do not see your audit here, you can select the Add Audit tab, and it will add your audit for that week. Once you select the View tab to the left, it will take you, if your audit is incomplete, it will show that your audit is incomplete, and you will need to select this View tab to the left. So once you select that View tab, it will open up your audit for that week. It has the options right here to either mark your audit as no work or fill in the audit. You will want to fill in the audit. And what that means is you're going to provide the hours for your employees that work that week. So once you select that button, it'll show all it. Normally, if it's your first time adding your employees, this area would be blank. And these names right here would actually be grayed out at the bottom. You would simply select to add those people to the audit. Once you add them to the audit, then these boxes will appear. You will put the hours worked for the total hours that week that the employee worked for you and the hours that they worked on the project in this column. And then you will select the Review tab to review your information. It will also give you the option to make any changes if you need to make changes or corrections prior to submission. And here's that tab right here. Once you've completed, you would save and certify your information to send that to our organization for review. If you feel that you need to make any changes or edits, then you can edit that button here, or if you need to go get additional information for employees, you can save and certify later. Now we'll go into the PLAY Workforce Audit submissions for the insurance portion. This is actually a new feature that just went into place on July the 1st. So I'm really excited about it because it's a new way for us to focus more so on our insurance employees. So what you would do is on that previous tab where you selected the workforce employee list, that is the tab that you would select. Once you've completed that, you will see all of your employees listed here. As you can see, I have employees listed with different craft types. So when you go into the audit, you will select this bottom button that says Manage Craft Review. When you select this button, it will open up to the new page, and that page will only list your PLAY employees and your exempt employees. Please make sure that you do not select your previously approved exempt employees. Otherwise, you will cause them to not be approved anymore. So when you're on this page, you select only the employees that worked during that quarter, and you will select this button here to add your attachments. Once you add your attachments, please make sure that you attach every item at one time. The system is not set up for you to go out and re-enter to add another attachment. So as you can see, I have multiple items grayed out that I have selected to add to this attachment. Once you've attached your items, it will show right here the number of items that you have attached. Please, in the box at the bottom for comments, please note which quarter you are submitting your workforce audit for and any additional information that is needed. Once you've done that, you will select the yellow box at the bottom to submit your audit. A box will appear at the top asking you, do you want to certify this? And you will simply select OK. And then this green indication at the top lets you know that your information has been saved. To get out of the audit, you will collect the X at the top right corner. And then this box will appear asking, do you want to close this audit? The information has not been saved. You will click OK because the previous screen did confirm that you have saved that audit. Once you've submitted that information, this is the view that we will receive on our end to view your audit. You can also go out and click the View button next to your employees to verify that information was uploaded. At the end of each month, or at the beginning of each month, we will send out a compliance status report by the 5th day of the month. This status report is sent to the primary contractors only. This report lets the prime contractors know if there are any outstanding, pending, or non-compliance items that need to be addressed. Please be advised that if there are items that need to be addressed, this can delay pay app requests. So to avoid delayed pay app requests, we ask that you resolve those items as soon as possible. And please, primary contractors, once you've made your comments and you've made those corrections, we ask you to make comments on your comment tab, and please email us a copy of your completed CSR, which is how we reference it, the contract, the CSR, so that we can know that you've made those changes. Please be advised that when we receive those CSRs back, we do re-audit them in the order of receipts. We do ask that you please do not email us for each individual item that has been completed. Again, we ask you to send us back this form as a whole. Now I'll be discussing the final POP compliance review. The final POP compliance review for contractors is when your contract has come to an end. We ask that vendors please submit all POP documents, which is the 1, 2, and 3 forms, and any approved POP 8 or 9 forms into LCP Tracker prior to closeout. All workforce audit submissions and all paid invoices for each POP pay participant is required to be paid in full. Please be advised that retainage payments will be held due to incomplete POP workforce audits and unpaid invoices. We want to ensure that we have every item necessary prior to closing out your contract. The start of work notice and termination of work notice that was previously discussed in the previous presentations is very vital for pay or play as well, because that lets us know when the subcontractors start on the project and when they actually end. And that will determine when we start auditing that contractor. Once a prime or subcontractor has completed their audit, we ask that they mark their final workforce audit as final. So that way that allows us to know that you are at the end of your workload, and for us to go into the system to verify all of your information and to mark you as inactive. Now go into some frequently asked questions for Pay or Play. Number 1, do only employees working on the job site have to be listed on the workforce audit employee list? No, all employees who worked on the city contract that is covered for Pay or Play, whether on-site or in office, must be listed on your workforce employee list and accounted for on the workforce audits. The second question is, my employee has insurance from on his or her own, and my company does not pay for it. Does this mean the employee needs to submit a notarized POP 8 form for exemption? Yes, you will be required to submit the employee's completed POP 8 form with proof of healthcare insurance, such as the front and back copy of their insurance card, to your POP administrator for review and approval. Question 3, I'm a subcontractor on the City of Houston POP contract, and my contract ends before the prime contractor finishes the job. Do I still have to submit POP submissions? No, please upload your termination of work notice into LCP Tracker with the date your contract has been completed and submit your final workforce audit in B2G. Question number 4, do subcontractors have to comply with the POP program if they are not MWSBE or Section 3? Yes, all subcontractors with professional service, construction, or general service contractors whose contract amount is paid or at or over $200,000 have to comply with Pay or Play. And I would just like to reiterate or elaborate on this a little bit. If you have a subcontractor whose contract was less than $200,000 when they initially started your contract, and you have some type of change order or amendment, and it causes their contract to meet or exceed the $200,000 threshold, the date that their contract meets or exceeds that dollar amount is when they start complying with Pay or Play requirements. Question number 5, does any of the payments from the POP benefit my company? No, unfortunately, it does not. The POP program payments are deposited again into the Contract Responsibilities Fund, where the fund is used to offset the cost of uninsured in Houston. To learn more about this, you may visit the OBO website, and it does have additional information. Now we'll be going into our additional resources. If you'd like to request a copy of our POP frequently asked questions, please send an email to your POP liaison. A few of those questions that are listed are: where should my POP 1, 2, and 3 forms be submitted? How to submit the POP 8 exemption form? How do I submit my play submission? How to submit my pay submissions? And how to make POP payments. This brings the POP program presentation to a close. Are there any questions in the chat box that need to be addressed? Okay, well, if there aren't any questions, I would like to thank you for your participation in the contract compliance technical assistance trainings today. We hope you found the technical assistance trainings to be useful and enlightening. Our primary objective was to expand your understanding of applicable program regulations and standards, as well as provide you with resources and guidance on how to help you maintain 100% compliance on all housing and community projects and throughout the duration of your project. Many topics were covered during the technical assistance training, and the presenters did an outstanding job of sharing their knowledge with you. If you have any questions, please contact the presenter. Their contact information again is in the chat box. Thank you again for any questions and comments that you may have had. We'd also like you to provide your valuable feedback for future technical assistance planning. Please complete the survey with the link in the chat box. We will make sure that each survey is reviewed and considered in order to make future technical assistance trainings more successful. I wish you the best of luck on your housing and community development projects. If I can be of any assistance or if you have any questions, you may contact me regarding Pay or Play. Thank you again for your participation today in the technical assistance training. Please encourage all future contractors, vendors, subcontractors, suppliers, service providers, and compliance consultants working on housing and community projects to attend future trainings. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to working with each of you on your housing and community development projects. We wish you the best of luck and have a great day.